Hello everyone, this is your Mr. GST CA Vishnu Vardhan, and this is all about the part 3 of the marathon which you have been waiting from long time, and I'm extremely sorry for uploading it little bit late, but I still feel it is correct time. So make sure you are watching this intro before watching part 3 for sure. So just take 2 minutes of your time. See, first of all, what are the chapters covered here? So in this part 3 of marathon, the chapters covered are registration and exemptions. Okay, and for this discussion I am using Oh My GST color book. If at all you want to buy it, actually you can buy that. The link, the purchase link, not the registration link, I am sorry. So the purchase link itself is given below, so you can purchase the book from the link below. It is available now. MRP is 375 but 350, sorry, but it is available at the price of 175 now. If you want, you can place an order online, you will get it done. And if you are already having it, no problem, but whatever the material etc I have used in the video, the soft copy of that is already uploaded in Telegram channel, and the Telegram channel link is also given below. So the Telegram channel link is available in the description, you can check. And part 1, part 2 of other chapters also is there in the YouTube channel, you can just go through that. And of course a separate amendment video has been already uploaded, the amendments exclusively applicable for JAN25 exams. And sir, there are very few amendments, but still in the statutory updates, whatever the amendments has been issued by ICAI, along with the material I have uploaded that. So the video, separate video is there, and the link for the material is also there in that particular video itself. You can just go through that. So it will have a brush up of all the concepts, the amendments, in a very clear and crisp manner. So hope you are enjoying this marathon. Please make sure, if you are liking the marathon, the way we are taking the lectures, please like the videos so that it will reach more students, and of course share with your friends. Sharing is caring. And please make sure you are commenting below the video the experience or whatever it is. So please do this and enjoy the lectures, and wishing you all the success for your exams. Thank you. So hello everyone, we are going to see exemptions in this particular video. So exemptions under GST. So if you see in ICA study material, it almost goes across 100 pages. In our material we are going to cover that in 22 pages, and covering every point of ICA study material. I have summarized it in such a manner where absolutely we are covering everything without leaving any single point, but still in a summarized manner. Okay, so that is what we are going to see. So without wasting much time, let us proceed with this particular chapter, exemptions. Right, see, in this particular discussion or the notes, we have not given the exemption entries a serial number how they have given in the law or in the notification. We have categorized them based on the type. For example, now we are going to see category 1, charitable or religious activities, one category. What and all the exemptions are related to that particular charitable institution, we'll be discussing in one go. In the same way, let us assume we'll see one more category like agriculture services, another category educational services. Like this, even in ICS study material also they have categorized and given that. So even I made the similar type of segregation here. Category wise we are going to see the exemptions, right? So first exemption based upon charitable and religious activities. Please understand, any exemption entry, we should be very careful about 3 things. Number 1, who is the supplier? Number 2, who is the recipient? Number 3, what is the nature of supply? If you are thorough with these 3 points, and if all these 3 points, whatever the conditions have been discussed here, are satisfied, then it is exempt under GST. If any one condition is not satisfied, obviously it is not exempt under GST. That means hence it is taxable, right? So whenever you are going through exemption question or exemption treatment, all that, so please be careful. If all the 3 conditions are satisfied, then only it is exempt, otherwise it is taxable, right? So the first one is charitable and religious activities. If you see, if the supplier is an entity registered under section 12A or AB of Income Tax Act 1961, here when we say like section 12A registered income tax, all that, let us not take it such a lengthy dialogue because I am not an income tax faculty. For our discussion, let us call it as section 12AA entity. Section 12AA is providing, section 12AA entity is providing specified charitable activities, then it is exempt under GST. Sir, what are specified charitable activities, sir? Specified charitable activities are, one, related to public health. Related to public health, these, see, understand, charitable institutions, if they are providing these type of charitable activities without consideration, there is no GST at all. But if they are charging consideration, then we are talking about those things, right? So if they are charging consideration and providing specified charitable activities like public health, so public health is with respect to what? They are taking care or counseling of whom? care or counseling of terminally ill persons or persons with severe physical or mental disability. For such type of people, they are taking care or counseling. Or persons affected with HIV or AIDS, for such people they are taking care or counseling. Or persons addicted to dependent substance such as narcotic drugs, alcohol, Instagram, PUBG, these type of things. So for these things, if they are taking care or counseling, then for that, if they are charging consideration, it is exempt under GST. It is not care or counseling, sir, if at all they are creating public awareness. They are not taking care or counseling, they are creating public awareness regarding preventive health checkup, family planning, prevention of HIV infection. So these type of things. So if they are doing, then that is exempt under GST. Next, so this is with respect to public health. And there is another one. Another one is relating to advancement of religion, spirituality and yoga. If they are, let us assume, for example, we can take yoga, you can take Isha Foundation. Sir, they are conducting a yoga camp, okay, summer or winter yoga camp for 30 days, and for that they are charging some consideration. Exempt under GST, section 12A entity providing services, specified charitable activities, advancement of religion, spirituality and yoga. Or not only that, sir, they are providing advancement of any educational or skill development programs. Educational or skill development programs means not relating to your CA course, it is related to abandoned, orphaned or homeless children. For them, they are providing any educational or skill development programs. Or physically or mentally abused and traumatized persons, okay, for those people they are providing this educational skill development programs. Or even for prisoners or for persons over 65 years. See here, over 65 years means greater than 65 years or less than 65 years? Greater than 65 years. For such people residing in rural area, please understand, residing in rural area, that means urban area will be what? Urban area will be taxable. So in the question you should be very careful. If it is urban area, it is taxable. Only in rural area it is exempt under GST. Okay, so that is the next one. And of course, preservation of environment. With respect to preservation of environment also, if they are providing these things, then it is exempt under GST. Clear? So let us assume, for example, protecting the watersheds, forest or wildlife, all that. For that, if they are charging any consideration and taking care of all these things, then it is very much exempt under GST. Okay. And one more thing which we have to be careful is, sir, when these people are providing, these charitable institutions or religious trust are providing the services, please understand they should be registered under section 12A, and whatever is falling within the above definition of charitable activities, that is these 4 items: public health, advancement of religion, spirituality, yoga, skill development or educational development programs, or preservation of environment, these things only, if they are providing, that is exempt under GST, not anything else. Okay, so that is the next one. Next, anything else, like for example, any advertisement services to a person in the premises of charitable or religious institutions. Or for example, you see SBI life insurance, they are advertising in Isha Foundation or any charitable institution, section 12A entity. So these people are getting consideration advertising this particular product, then obviously what, it is taxable. Okay, so such type of things. Or any publications of the trust, granting admission to any events, etc., like for example Shivaratri celebrations, etc., something, any functions, all the stuff, celebrations, shows against which they are charging some ticket or fee. All these things will attract GST. As I told earlier, whatever the specified charitable activities are there, that alone is exempt under GST. And one more thing, sir, here there is a doubt, like if you see this section 12A entities will be conducting some residential programs or camps where they will be providing this advancement of religion, spirituality, yoga, and that will be a camp for 30 days, 7 days, 2 weeks, like this it will be going on. So parallelly what they will be doing now, they will be providing accommodation also for the people who are coming and taking up the training programs, maybe with respect to religion, spirituality, yoga, all that. In such cases, if you see, so they are also providing lodging and boarding. Whether it will be exempt or not means, yes, the answer is exempt, because the primary and predominant activity or objective or purpose of such residential program or camp is what? Advancement of religion, spirituality or yoga, right? So that is why it is also exempt. No, sir, I am going there and separately if they are providing any only accommodation, if they are providing only accommodation, if you are providing, then what? That it is taxable. So for example, you are going there just to stay peacefully, come out of all this like tensions, pressures, etc. So you want to, for example, you finished your CA exams and going to some religious institution, section 12A entity, staying there for 3 days, want to stay peacefully, okay, paying some consideration, they are charging that only for providing accommodation to you. So that is taxable. But if it is a part and parcel of what, any advancement of religion, spirituality, or etc., such type of specified charitable activities, then it is exempt under GST. Okay, so that is the point. Next, coming to the next entry is all about any person who is conducting any religious ceremonies, providing services to any person providing service. See, any person means here who will be obviously providing this religious ceremonies, who will be conducting that, obviously that particular religious head will be conducting, maybe the purohit, maybe the priest or somebody, etc., that particular religious head providing services of conducting the religious ceremonies to any person. For example, see, after you becoming a chartered accountant, you are getting married and one purohit is coming and conducting the marriage. After the marriage is over, you are paying him 10 lakhs the professional fees, okay, and taking his blessings. He's also blessing, may God bless you with more and more marriages and children. So like that, imagine. So then in such case, what, sir, that is exempt under GST. So all the birth, marriage or death related ceremonies, whatever we celebrate, that will be coming under religious ceremonies. Okay, so we can say here the professional fees paid to religious head, we can say the professional fees paid to religious head. I don't know in your language what you call that. In our language, we call it as dakshana. So professional fees paid to religious head. Okay, so that is the point. So that is exempt under GST. Not only that, sir, if these type of entities, just have a glance over this, no need to remember here section numbers and all. Section 12A entity, 1023C, 1023 BBA, all these things you will be studying in your CA final direct taxes. Okay, so which are religious or charitable trust? So these people are renting the presence of the religious place, which is meant for general public, is exempt under GST. But there is an exception. That means if they are renting rooms where charges are 1000 rupees or more per day, that means if it is greater than or equal to rupees 1000 per day, it is fully taxable. But if it is less than rupees 1000 per day, it is exempt. This is with respect to rooms. But sir, if it is with respect to any community halls or kalyana mandaps, all that stuff, if it is greater than or equal to 10,000 per day, then it is fully taxable. For example, you go to some religious places, get married there, you will be seeing in some temples, etc., etc., people get married. So that thing we are discussing here. So for that, whatever the rent you are paying, that means understand the law has not left even the God, okay, from GST. Then imagine, after all, human beings are of course, yes, being taxed. So if it is less than 10,000 per day, then it is exempt. And there is one more thing related to shops. If you see near the religious places, etc., people will be doing their business, etc., in a premise which belongs to that religious institution. So that whatever the rent they are paying, that is exempt if it is greater than or equal to 10,000 per month, then it is fully taxable. But if it is less than rupees 10,000 per month, then it is exempt. Am I clear? So that is what this particular entry. Next, sir, the next entry is related to, there is services provided by Kuman Mandal Vikas Nigam Limited or Hajj Committee of India or State Hajj Committees. What is that they are providing? The service they are providing is nothing but they are conducting religious pilgrimages which are facilitated by Government of India under bilateral agreement to any person, that is exempt under GST. Sir, this Hajj Committee or Kuman Mandal Vikas Nigam Limited, so they do this pilgrimage to Makkah and Kailash Mansarovar. So Hajj committees will take care of pilgrimage to Makkah, and this Kuman Mandal Vikas Nigam Limited will take care of pilgrimage to Kailash Manasarovar. For that, whatever the consideration they are charging is exempt under GST. Next, This is another interesting point, or I can say important one also. So if you see, any individual are providing services of training or coaching in recreational activities like arts and culture. Arts and culture means what, sir? Dance, music, painting, sculpture making, literary activities, theater, etc. of any school, any tradition or language. I repeat this with respect to any school, tradition or language. Wait, I'll just highlight this. Any school, any tradition, any language. It can be Western music, it can be classical music, it can be hip hop music, it can be anything. But very important point is, sir, you are providing training or coaching, not performance. This is not related to performance. This is related to training. Let us assume example. Vishnu Vardhan is a classical dancer. Imagine, so Bharatanatyam. So I am running the school, Bharatanatyam dance school. So I will teach people how to dance Bharatanatyam. Okay, just 1 lakh rupees per month is the fees. That is exempt under GST. But guys, supplier should be individual. That is very important here. So this is, let us assume, example, Bharatanatyam dance school. I am not going and performing in any show and getting consideration. Please don't misunderstand. Further, there is a separate entry. Okay, so if I am providing these services to any person, that is exempt under GST. And here one more interesting thing is, same way I am providing training or coaching in sports, but that is provided by section 12AA entity to any person is exempt under GST. That means, please understand, in this particular case, the supplier should be individual. In this case, definitely the supplier should be section 12AA entity. For example, I am starting a helicopter cricket coaching academy. So we will train how to hit the helicopter shot. Even for MSD, I have taught that how to play the helicopter shot. That way I'm advertising in the market. Okay, so that way I'm taking the admissions and I'm providing the coaching in cricket, hitting that helicopter shot. Okay, so taxable or exempt? It is taxable because supplier should not be individual. Here supplier should be section 12AA entity. So that is what the concept, right? So that is the point. Next, this point I have already discussed, sir. It can be dance, music, painting, sculpture making, literary activities, theater, etc. of any school, tradition or language, or any of the sports. It doesn't matter. It is all about training or coaching. Okay. As I have already discussed, it should be provided by only individual if this is related to arts or culture, but if it is related to sports, it should be provided only by section 12AA entity. Super. Okay, next. So services provided to or charitable or religious to by is given, we have all seen that, are not outside the ambit of GST, hence taxable, all these normal things. So I repeat, all the conditions, if they are satisfying, supplier, recipient, nature of supply, all these things, if they are satisfied, then it is exempt under GST. If not satisfied, obviously taxable. Okay, so we are done with category number 1. Okay, right. So let us move on to category number 2. What is category number 2? Sir, category number 2 is nothing but related to agriculture related services. Agriculture related services, if you see, sir, agriculture related services, first of all, agricultural related services, sir, let us see the definition of agricultural produce here. If you see, sir, definition of agricultural produce says, agricultural produce means any produce which is out of cultivating the plants, rearing of all life forms of animals except horses. Why are you cultivating the plants? Why are you rearing all life forms of animals? Sir, for food, fiber, fuel, raw material or other similar products on which the interesting thing is no further processing is done, or if further processing is done also, it is usually done by the cultivator and it should not alter its essential characteristics but makes it marketable in the primary market. That means, first of all, sir, there is something produced from land. Either you do no processing, or if you do processing also, sir, you do processing also. If you process some that agricultural produce, still I call it as agricultural produce, when it should be done by cultivator only, not some outsider. Okay, only cultivator should do that. Only cultivator should do that. And what is the next one? The next one is, it should not alter the essential characteristic. This is another one. And the third point is, sir, it is only for primary market. It should be for making it marketable in the primary market. Then only that activity is called agricultural produce. That produce is called agricultural produce. That is the reason why I understand, sir, paddy is an agricultural produce but not rice. Sir, there are so many things like cereals, pulses, copra, jaggery, tea powder, coffee powder, all these things which are done by a person other than cultivator. So you cannot call them as an agricultural produce. Hence they are taxable. Hope it is clear for you. Okay, so now keeping this in background, sir, now coming to the point, agriculture related activities, if you see, loading, unloading, packing, warehousing of rice. For rice, separate entry is there because rice is not an agricultural produce, because we have understood the definition. It should be produced out of land, and if any further processing is done on that, it is not an agricultural produce. If processing is done, it should be done by the cultivator. Sir, paddy you produce from the land and then you take it to the rice mill. Some other person other than the cultivator will do some process on that. So obviously what? Rice is not an agricultural produce. Cashew nuts, some fruits and vegetables on which further processing is done by some other person. That means some other person touches the agricultural produce, it will lose the meaning of agricultural produce. Are you able to understand? Right? So that is what the point. So loading, unloading, packing, warehousing of rice. Yes, rice is not an agricultural produce, but still, you know, very much essential. So we are giving an exemption here, right? Next, sir, loading, unloading, packing, warehousing of minor forest produce like turmeric, honey, rubber, etc. So these are what? Exempt under GST. If again loading, unloading, packing or warehousing, sir, storage or warehousing of cereals, pulses, fruits and vegetables, if they are satisfying the definition of agricultural produce already, like obviously they will come under entry 54 and they'll enjoy the exemption. But if they are not falling or satisfying the definition of agricultural produce, storing or warehousing of these things, that is the cereals, pulses, fruits and vegetables, will be exempt under GST. Please make sure you are thorough with these exemptions, mark them important. Small adjustments, there are chances they will be tested in the exam. Okay, so that is with respect to agricultural produce. Okay, now 54, entry 54, which is mainly talking about agricultural related exemptions. Okay, now sir, any person to any person, cultivation of plants and rearing of all life forms of animals except rearing of horses. Now see, for example, you rear cattle, you rear sheep, you rear pigs, you rear silkworms, you rear fishes, whatever you do, rearing of all animals is an agricultural activity. Services related to that is exempt under GST, but rearing of horses alone will be taxable. Rearing of horses is taxable. Okay, so this includes pisciculture, sericulture, floriculture, horticulture, forestry, etc. All these things are agricultural activities only. So all services related directly concerned with this is exempt under GST. So now if you see, they have given the exemptions. Sir, agricultural operations directly related to produce of any agricultural produce is exempt under GST, sir. Like for example, cultivation, harvesting, threshing, plant protection or testing. Testing means, here please understand, it can be soil testing or seed testing. Okay, these things are exempt under GST. Supply of farm labor, for example, I have 100-acre land, sugarcane crop, somebody need to harvest the crop, correct? I'm asking Rocky Bhai to send labor, you know his labor force, he's sending labor and I'm paying him 1 lakh rupees, exempt under GST, right? So that is what the point. And as I already told you, sir, you should not carry out any process on the agricultural produce. If you are doing any processing on the agricultural produce which is not altering the essential characteristic but makes it only marketable in the primary market, then it is very much exempt under GST. But if it alters the characteristic, for example, from sugarcane crop you are taking jaggery, you are making jaggery in the farmland itself, or sir, I am extracting tomato pulp and making tomato sauce in the farmland itself, or I am making potato chips in the farmland itself, lace packet I am manufacturing in the farmland itself. So just because it is done in the farmland, done by the cultivator, you cannot say that is an agricultural produce. It should be carried out by the cultivator and it should not alter its essential characteristic. If it is altering its essential characteristic or if it is making it marketable in retail market, all these things are taxable. So here, if it is for making it marketable in retail market, then it is taxable. Or if it alters, then it is taxable. If it alters the essential characteristic, then it is taxable. So there are activities like tending, pruning, cutting, harvesting, drying, cleaning, trimming, sun drying. Let us mark it important. Fumigating. Next, curing, sorting, grading, cooling, or bulk packing, etc. All these type of things which do not alter the essential characteristic of agricultural produce is very much exempt under GST. Don't ask me what is like meaning of each and every word, tending, pruning, all that stuff. I am not from that agricultural background. I seriously don't have idea. I know only not cultivation. Okay, fine. Here why I asked you to mark this fumigation important. Nah? You know, fumigating means what? Spraying this insecticides, pesticides, all that stuff to kill the insects, pests, all that. So they do normally in the farmland. Now the point is, sir, all these things are done. Whatever the processor we have discussed are carried out at an agricultural farm. Carried out at an agricultural farm. So now fumigation process, sir, if it is at farmland, then it is exempt. If it is at warehouse, earlier there was an exemption, but now it is not exempt, so it is taxable. Please remember it, very very important one. Okay, fumigation in the farmland is exempt, but in warehouse it is taxable. Okay, so that is what the point, right? So now the next one is renting or leasing of any agro machineries. Okay, machineries which are related to agricultural use, all that stuff. So renting of agro machinery or vacant land, so all these things exempt under GST. Loading, unloading, packing, storage or warehousing of rice we have seen, but here agricultural produce, anything you are loading potatoes, unloading tomatoes, packing any other fruits, etc., vegetables, etc., etc., which are satisfying the definition of agricultural produce, then it is exempt under GST. Okay, so that is the point. Next, agricultural extension services exempt under GST, like for example scientific research, farmer education and training. For these things, if somebody is charging consideration, see, you may think by looking at that, okay, this will be like under charity or they will not be charging any consideration. If they are not charging any consideration, no problem, it is however no GST. But if they are charging consideration also, it is exempt under GST. Hope it is clear for you, right? So that is what with respect to that. And as I already told, sir, if it is altering the essential characteristic or making it marketable for primary market, unnecessarily I wrote here all the stuff, did so much of hard work. So here we have already written, see, so alters or retail, so that is what the same points here, so that is taxable. Clear? So hope it is clear for you. With this we are done with agricultural act related exemptions. And one more thing, yes, here see, agricultural extension services, they have given the meaning. So as we have already discussed, like farmer education, technical training, all that stuff. Not only that, please remember this also, sir, services provided by agricultural produce marketing committee or board. What these people will be doing, they will be providing various facilities or amenities like sheds, water, light, electricity, grading facilities, etc. to the farmers. So they also take measure to prevention of sale or purchase below the minimum support price. Of course, we don't know when that will be achieved, but still, sir, that is their main agenda. And they will collect market fees, license fees, rents, etc., all that stuff. So these things are exempt under GST. Am I clear? So this is exempt under GST. So let us write down here, services provided by APMC, Agricultural Produce Marketing Committee or board, whatever you call. But one interesting point is, sir, if the services provided by such bodies not directly related to cultivation of plants and rearing of life forms of animals, except rearing of horses, then obviously it will be taxable. Example, renting of shops or other properties for commercial purpose. not generally for this sale or purchase of agricultural produce, all the stuff, but for any other. See, they might be having some revenue, they might have some commercial properties, those things. If they are renting all that APMC, all these people, that is taxable, that is taxable. Next, you know, this processed products such as tea, black tea, white tea, etc. Seriously, I have never seen white tea. If you have seen, okay. Or processed coffee beans powder. See, obviously when you do some process on this, you are not a cultivator, automatically it will lose the characteristic of agricultural produce. Okay, so that one. Pulses, husk, dehusked or split, jaggery, processed spices, processed dry fruits, processed cashew nuts, etc. all will fall outside the definition of agricultural produce, and hence they will be what? Taxable. Okay, next. Here one interesting thing is, sir, however, whole pulse grains such as whole gram, rajma, I know rajma but I don't know whole gram. If you want, you can just Google it, okay, are covered under the definition of agricultural produce, so they enjoy the exemption. Okay, so this is the one. And not only that, any person doing any intermediate production process, for example, I have 100-acre land and I am asking you to cultivate on behalf of me and I am paying consideration to you, exempt under GST. So intermediate production process as a job work, maybe in relation to cultivation of plants, you might be having some 1,000 pigs and you are going to be busy for your exam preparation, all that stuff. You are coming and asking, Vishnu sir, will you rear these pigs on behalf of us? I said, absolutely fine, no problem. Okay, so you are paying me some 100 lakhs for that and I am doing. So any person to any person, exempt under GST, intermediate production process, cultivation of plants and also rearing of all life forms except horses. So that means anything related to horse, taxable. You will be seeing in some problems, horses, for that you are constructing or getting some stud farm, etc, etc. All these things will be taxable because it is related to horse. Okay. And there is a clarification here, milling of paddy into rice, is it an intermediate production process? Then they said absolutely no. Milling of paddy into rice cannot be treated as intermediate production process, hence it will be taxable. Milling of paddy into rice. Okay, so what is the outcome here? It is taxable. Okay, right, that is the next one. Next, sir, artificial insemination of livestock other than horses. So actually they will make this cattle or other animals to breed by artificial insemination process. So for that they charge consideration, that is also exempt. Actually we should stop doing all these type of activities, ban these type of activities, which is like cruelty over animals, but still fine, because we human beings, we have to survive, so we are doing all that, fine. So coming to the point, they have an exemption, artificial insemination of livestock other than horses, exempt under GST. Hope it is clear. So with this we are done with category 2, agriculture related services. Now we are moving into the next category, educational services, which is another important area. Okay, so category number 3. So coming to educational services, first of all, here one important thing for us is to understand the meaning of educational institution. The educational institution, for our discussion, please understand, there are 3 points in educational institution definition. There are 3 points in educational institution definition. Now for our understanding, let me call them as EI1, EI2, EI3. Sir, what is this EI1, EI2, EI3? EI1 says, sir, you are called as an educational institution if you are providing services by way of preschool education. Preschool education means, can it take play schools? Yes. Preschool, yes. And also education up to higher secondary school or equivalent. Equivalent means, see, for example, in Tamil Nadu they say till 12th standard it is school. In Andhra, Telangana and Karnataka areas they call it as college. In Karnataka they say PU1, PU2 college. In Andhra, Telangana they call it as intermediate first year, second year. I don't know about other states, Maharashtra, all that stuff. Seriously, I'm sorry. So the point is, sir, education they are providing by way of preschool as well as up to higher secondary school. This is EI1, first category. I am talking about education institution definition. We have not entered into the exemption. So EI One, EI2 is nothing but education as a part of curriculum for obtaining a qualification recognized by any law. Here, any law means we are talking about Indian law, not foreign law. Okay, so you are providing education as a part of curriculum. Are you understanding the point? For obtaining any qualification recognized by law. Law means Indian law. You know, the point is, sir, all the CA coaching academies, all that stuff, what they are doing, they are not educational institution because they are not providing education as a part of curriculum. Okay, so they are not providing education as part of their curriculum, so that is why they cannot be called as educational institution. That is the reason the fees they are charging is subjected to GST, because they are not satisfying the definition of educational institution. Right now, sir, EI2 is fine. That means EI2, for example, can I call UG and PG colleges as an example? Yes. Sir, education as a part of approved occasional educational course, sir. What do you mean by approved occasional education course? Mm, see, approved occasional education course means where the education is provided in designated trades like electrician, wireman, carpenter, plumber, etc. All these. So these things they are providing, then that is called an approved occasional education course, and anybody providing that will be called as educational institution. So they will be calling generally ITI colleges, if you remember in your areas. So there will be something called ITI colleges. So those ITI colleges we are talking. So they are what? They are called as educational institution. They are called as educational institution. Hope it is clear for you, right? So we have understood, sir, educational institution meaning is EI1, EI2, EI3. EI1 is preschool and up to higher secondary school, and EI2 is nothing but providing education as a part of their curriculum for obtaining any qualification recognized by law, and EI3 is approved occasional educational courses. If you are providing, then you are an educational institution. And not only that, sir, department has clarified that even the central and state educational boards, the CBSE, state boards, all these people shall also be treated as what? Educational institution for the limited purpose of providing services by way of conduct of examination to the students. Okay, so conducting examination to the students. So for that purpose they will be treated as educational institutions. Hope it is clear for you. Okay, so now coming to the point. So these people providing services, if you see here there are three entries mainly. So, or I can say here, if you see in these two cases, supplier is educational institution. Okay, in this case recipient is educational institution. That means here we can say we are talking about sales of educational institution. Here we are talking about purchases of educational institution. Okay, sir, educational institution, if you satisfy the definition of educational institution, you may be EI 1, 2, 3. Okay, you provide any service to your students, faculty, staff, that is exempt under GST. Are you understanding the point? If you are an educational institution, if you are providing any service, you charge school fees, you charge library fees, you charge bus fees, you charge that fees, you charge this fees, whatever it is. Okay, right? So any service provided to their students, faculty, staff is exempt under GST. Okay, hope it is clear. That is the reason why the school fees what you are paying, the college fees what you are paying, you are not paying GST on that because of this. But the condition is that opposite entity should satisfy the definition of educational institution. Hope it is clear to you. So the next one is sir, if you are an educational institution, maybe again 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, you are conducting entrance examination against a consideration in the form of entrance fees to any person. Sir, already in the previous entry you told any service to student is exempt under GST. Now again you are saying conducting entrance exam is exempt. A conducting entrance exam is for outsiders who are not their students still. So yes, the previous entry is for students. The next entry is entrance exam for outsiders who wants to become a student. So that is exempt under GST. Hope it is clear for you. Next, Mm, that is the point. Next, so we are done with the sales made by educational institution. Now we are coming to purchases made by educational institutions. The purchases made by educational institution, here if you understand carefully, there are 3 points. In these 3 points, there are, if you see in this first point, there are 3 points again. Sir, here if you see, these 3 are exempt only if they are provided to educational institution 1. That means which are providing education as a part of preschool education or education up to higher secondary school, all that. So any person who is providing services of transporting the students, faculty, staff of EI1, and they are charging consideration. For example, imagine Mr. Rohit Sharma is transporting the students of Mumbai Indians English Medium High School. Is transporting the students and is collecting consideration from whom? Mumbai Indians English Medium High School. Exempt under GST. You provide transportation of students, faculty, staff of any education institution which is providing preschool or up to higher secondary school. That means EI1. Then it is exempt under GST. Hope it is clear for you. Alright. That is point number 1 there. What is point number 2 now? Sir, there anybody providing catering services, including midday meal scheme. That is not only midday meal scheme program, including midday meal. So, for example, we have a school. Sir, in our school, we provide to the students breakfast, lunch, everything. Students should not bring anything to the school, only books. Okay, we will take care of them. We will provide breakfast, we will provide lunch, we will provide snacks, everything. We will take care. You relax, parents. You don't worry. Be happy. You just eat 5-star, do nothing. Send the student to us. We will give everything to them. In such cases, sir, as a school, I should provide lunch, breakfast to the students, but we don't have kitchen only in our school for so many students. So what we are doing, we are taking services of a caterer. A catering services are availed. Catering services are availed. Sir, in such case, for the catering person, whatever the consideration we are paying is exempt under GST. And I repeat, this exemption is only for EI1, not EI2, not EI3. In a college, if they take catering service, taxable, but in the school, it is exempt. I mean till 12th standard. Okay, people from Andhra, Telangana, etc., Karnataka will think college means +1, +2. No, this is I am talking about after 12th, whatever is it they take, it is taxable. So up to 12th, if they are taking catering services, please understand here, this is not canteen, school canteen we are talking about. School canteen, students will go directly buy something and eat. Here the customer is not, the recipient is not school. For us in this entry, supplier is any person and the recipient is EI1. EI1 is the recipient. Okay, are you understanding the point? So the recipient is EI1, then only this exemption is there. Okay, so students directly going to canteen buying some kurkure, lace packets, all that chocolates and all, no, that is not covered here. That is very much taxable. This only enjoys exemption. Now here, sir, midday meal scheme programs, all that stuff you are saying. No, here you are talking about educational institution providing services, all this stuff. Sir, Anganwadi schools covered here, sir. Yes, Anganwadi schools are also covered here. Sir, they are also providing preschool. Yes or no? Yes. So in Anganwadi schools, you are providing this catering service and all that. Yes, exempt under GST. Sir, what if they are funded by any NGOs? That is also exempt under GST. No matter who is funding, who is paying the consideration. The only thing is any person to education institution 1 EI1 category providing what? Providing catering service, including midday meal scheme program, exempt under GST. No matter whether the fund is given by government, fund is given by private person, fund is given by some NGO, it does not matter. Okay, so that is the point. Now, what is the another important point? Now, sir, we are discussing here only EI1. That means, can I take schools as example? Yes. What is the spelling of school? SCHOOL. So that is the point here. If you see, SCHOOL. S for security, C for cleaning, H for housekeeping. You are providing these services in such education institution, then it is exempt under GST. That means if you are providing these services, security, cleaning, housekeeping, all that stuff outside the school, na, then it is taxable under GST. Are you understanding the point? That is taxable under GST if you are providing them outside the school, right? So that is the next point. So this is first one entry where we have seen purchase. See, I repeat, educational institutions, they have provided 2 sales. We have discussed about that, exempt under GST. Next one, sir, education institution, 3 purchases we are discussing. In that first purchase is over. In that first purchase, transporting. So educational institution EI1 is buying transportation services. EI1 is buying Catering services including midday meal. EI1 is buying security, cleaning, housekeeping services in such education institutions. Suppose outside some auditorium we have taken conducting some annual day function, all that stuff. Taxable there if you take all that. In the school you take any security, cleaning or housekeeping, then exempt under GST. Okay, so that is the point. Okay, sir, what is the next purchase? The next purchase is any person to any education institution. That means here we are talking about all EI 1, 2 and 3 all. For all these education institutions, sir, it is exempt. What is exempt? Services related to admission or conduct of examination. Guys, understand, services related to admission or conduct of examination means, please understand here, central or state board educational boards are treated as education institutions for conducting the exams, correct? That means they conducting exams and collecting consideration is exempt under GST, and also for conducting this. See, as I told you, services provided by central or state educational boards, including boards such as NBE, all that, National Board of Education, by way of conduct of examination for students, including conduct of entrance examination for admission to education institutions, will be exempt under GST. So GST shall not apply to any fees or amount charged by such boards. So whatever the exam application fees you have paid to your boards, exempt under GST. Not only that, the interesting thing is now these people are called as educational institution, so they are purchasing any service in relation to conducting the exam, admission of anything. So not only they providing services of conducting exam and collecting exam fees is exempt, but also for conducting this exam they are taking any online testing service or result publication services. They are taking services from somebody, printing the notification of examination, printing the admit cards, question paper setting up, all that stuff. Whatever the services they take, input services relating to admission or conduct of examination, then there also GST is exempt. Example, online testing services you may take, result publication or printing the notification of examination, or admit cards or question papers you get printed from some other people, or sir, some professors are setting up the question papers, some professors are valuing the answer sheets. For all that you are doing, giving consideration, all that, correct? No, so that is exempt under GST. Am I clear? So that is what the point. Okay, so right, next one, what is next one, sir? That is fine, sir, but if at all they are providing anything else, this boards or other people, they are providing anything else. For example, see, GST is applicable for providing accreditation to any institution or to a professional. You'll be seeing on school buses or college buses like accredited to so and so university, like that. So that accreditation they will be getting from the boards, that is taxable under GST. Please understand, that means the accreditation fees or registration fees, okay, FMG, screening test, all these things. So for the professionals who have done their let us assume medicine, they have studied somewhere abroad and now they are coming to India, they want to do practice. Now in India they will conduct one exam. Okay, so like that there are various things. So here you are giving it to professionals, etc., the accreditation, all that stuff, that is what, taxable. Okay, so that is taxable. Are you able to understand now? So that is what the concept, right? So this is with respect to any service if you buy relating to conducting the examination or anything related to admission to any colleges, all that, that is exempt under GST. This is another purchase. And the last purchase is, sir, the last purchase, any person is providing online educational or periodical journals or online educational journals or periodicals. You tell me, out of 3 EAs, EI1, EI2, EI3, for whom this is useful? EI1 are schools, you know, the more books you carry as a student, the more fees we can charge, the more popular we become. So for you, online journals, periodicals not required. EI3 is like what? ITA colleges, you are going for approved vocational educational courses. You have not studied normal books itself properly, that is the reason you are going there. For you, online periodicals, what you will do? Useless. So EI2, that is example UG, PG college students, all that. For them, online periodicals, journals, etc., they are subscribing to any letters or online periodicals, journals, and doing some research and studying on them. For them, if you provide, that is exempt under GST. That means here this exemption is only for EI2. Hope it is clear. Okay, so these are the purchases, and there are some other things also here. If you see here, there are some other like small clarifications, all that stuff. Sir, output services of lodging, boarding in hostels provided by education institutions. See, obviously any service provided to students, faculty, staff are exempt. So obviously all these boarding schools, etc., they are like nothing but composite supply which are naturally bundled in the ordinary course of business. So the predominant element is educational services, hence it is exempt under GST. So they are providing residence, food, all the stuff as a bundle. So it will be exempt under GST because the predominant nature is education, right? Next, sir, there are some colleges which are providing some dual qualification programs, sir, where if one of them is recognized by law and the other is not recognized by law, that means one is taxable, the other is exempt. In such case, what should be the tax treatment? There are three possibilities. I repeat, they are providing dual qualification in which one is recognized by law, the other is not recognized by law. So, for example, you see you are studying 12th standard in your school or college, whatever it is, they are providing 12th standard as well as you will be seeing NEET coaching, IIT coaching, CA coaching, all that stuff. One is recognized by law, one is not recognized by law. I mean, for one part you are educational institution, for the other part you are not an educational institution. So this NEET or IIT coaching, CA coaching, you are not providing as a part of your curriculum. So in such cases, sir, you are providing the dual qualification, both are two separate services you are treating all together. Therefore, it will be assessed separately. One will be for how much you are taking for 12th fees, that will be exempt. How much you are taking for CA coaching, that will be taxable. But if they are bundled for a single price, that means it is an artificial bundle. You treat as mixed supply, whichever attracts the highest rate of tax. Taxable supply will attract highest rate of tax. So entire transaction will become taxable. For example, 10,000 you are charging for 12th and 10,000 you are charging for CA coaching. Entire 20,000 if it is you are charging fully as a composite, as a bundle. Okay, 20,000 you are charging and you are giving both 12th as well as CA coaching. 10,000, 10,000 like that, if you are separately charging, then it will be separately assessed. 10,000 taxable, 10,000 exempt. But if you are providing it as a bundle, 20,000 naturally bundled, no sir. Then what is the tax treatment? Mixed supply. Entire 20,000 will be taxable at the highest rate. No sir, it is incidental or auxiliary for providing any such things. Then that will be treated as composite supply. For example, any hobby classes or extracurricular activities which are provided. So they are example for naturally bundled things, all that stuff in the schools, etc. will be seeing some extracurricular activities, all that they will be providing. So that will be exempt under GST. Coming to the next one, with respect to IIMs. IIMs are educational institutions, but the problem is they are providing some certification programs. Something are called long duration programs, which is 1 year or more, that is greater than or equal to 1 year, and some short duration programs, which are less than 1 year. If it is long duration programs, then it is exempt under GST. If it is short duration programs, then it is taxable under GST. Not exempt, that means this is taxable. Which is taxable? Short duration programs, okay, which are less than 1 year, that will be taxable. Okay, there is another clarification. If you see, the clarification is regarding canteen or mess facilities provided by educational institution. You know, canteen or mess facility, if it is provided by educational institution to its students, faculty, staff, any service provided by educational institution to students, faculty, staff is exempt under GST. So here also they will enjoy the exemption. But if they are outsourcing this to somebody is coming and setting up their canteen in the school, canteen in the college, all that stuff, then the outsider is providing this catering activity, and then the supply of service will be taxable. Here please understand, caterer is directly selling it to students, okay, then it is taxable. Directly school is running the canteen, school is selling to the students, exempt. Anything to the students, catering services to students provided by educational institution is exempt. Any service provided by educational institution to students, faculty, staff is exempt under GST. Next, sir, if you see some institutions like IITs, IIMs, what they will do now, once the course is completed, the 2 years MBA program or BTech program, whatever it is, that is completed, you know, there will be campus placements. For going to the campus placement, for example, I am having a company, I want to enter into some IIT Mumbai, IIT Bombay or IIT Madras. So these places I want to go for campus placement. I want to recruit the students of that particular campus in my company. For that, I should pay consideration to IITs, IIMs. Okay, so they will charge some fees from prospective employees like corporate houses, MNCs, who comes to recruit to their institutes. Okay, so through campus placements. All these things are what? Sir, this is not something provided to students, faculty, staff. Education institution is allowing me to enter into their campus. I am not a student, I am not a faculty, I am not a staff there. So I am paying consideration to get the entry for the campus placement. That is liable to tax. Next, sir, there are maritime training institutes and other training courses, sir, which are approved by Director General of Shipping. They are also recognized as education institution, and that will be equally what? Exempt under GST. So these are the services related to education. Okay, so education related category we are done. Now we are moving into the next category, category number 4, healthcare services. So the next category, category number 4. So category number 4, if you see, category 4 is healthcare services. Healthcare services, category 4 here. Before going into this category for healthcare services, we should understand the meaning of healthcare service. If you understand the meaning of healthcare service, sir, what is the meaning of healthcare service? The definition is important for you guys. So healthcare service definition says diagnosis or treatment or care for what? For illness, injury, deformity, abnormality or pregnancy. You are doing diagnosis or treatment, or you are taking care, as we have discussed, for illness, injury, deformity, abnormality or pregnancy. But sir, the interesting thing is it should be under any recognized system of medicine in India. It is not like somebody says om boom fat swaha, fever is gone, or somebody do some prayer, you will be running from one corner to another corner. Such type of extraordinary healthcare services are not covered here. It is recognized system of medicine. So recognized system of medicine means what? N Ayush. So the recognized system of medicine in India is N Ayush. That is naturopathy, Ayurveda, allopathy, yoga, Unani, Siddha and homeopathy, or any other system which is recognized by central government. Then it is exempt under GST. You should be providing healthcare service means under this recognized system of medicine. If you provide, then only we call it as healthcare service. And interesting thing is transporting. See, it includes what? It includes transporting a person, that is patient, to or from the clinical establishment. So ambulance services, can we say? Ambulance services are exempt under GST. So transporting the patient from or to the clinical establishments, then it is exempted. See, we have seen in schedule 3 transportation of deceased. That means the person who is already dead, when we are transporting them, such services are neither SOG nor SOS. And transporting the patients, that means they are alive. Don't get it out, sir, what if they are like dead during going to hospital, all that. So that will also come under ambulance services. However, no GST implication, nothing to worry, don't crack your head too much. Now, coming to the point, sir, it does not include, this is interesting point, sir, it does not include what? See, inclusion we have seen here, and now we are seeing here exclusion. See, once we are doing some professional courses like CA, whatever it is, see, obviously after becoming chartered accountant, we will be needing one basic thing, the basic medical service. What is that? Hair transplantation service. Yes, as of now this is original only. I am worried that maybe in future it will be needed. So hair transplantation services, cosmetic or plastic surgery services, these things are provided under recognized system of medicine. Can I take exemption for this? The answer is no, because healthcare service definition excludes specifically hair transplantation, cosmetic and plastic surgery services, except when they are undertaken to restore or reconstruct the anatomy or functions of the body which are affected due to congenital defects, development abnormalities, injury or trauma. That means, see, for example, when anybody is going for hair transplantation, cosmetic and plastic surgery, we will be seeing our heroines doing this jawline correction or some nose surgery, etc., or going for this dimple on their cheeks, etc. So like that, they are getting the hair transplantation, cosmetic or plastic surgery, not a healthcare service, it is taxable. But if any person who is infected with any injury, affected with any injury or due to any congenital defects, you see there is a movie of Ram Charan Tej and Allu Arjun, where Allu Arjun will be the hero, and in the first 15 minutes, half an hour of the movie, Allu Arjun will fight with the villains and half of his face will be burnt and he will be taking into Apollo hospitals doing cosmetic surgery. Allu Arjun enters into the hospital, Ram Charan comes out of the hospital. So that way, sir, for such cases, it is exempt under GST. That means, understand, sir, it is purely to reconstruct or restore the anatomy of the body because of any injury, illness, developmental abnormalities or congenital defects. Then it is exempt under GST. Any other case, it is taxable. even though it is provided under recognized system of medicine. Am I clear? Okay, sir. Healthcare services we have understood here, sir. Fine. Now, if you see who should be providing healthcare service, please understand who should be providing healthcare service. Sir, clinical establishment should be providing healthcare service, sir. For example, Apollo hospitals or authorized medical practitioner should be providing healthcare services, sir. For example, Dr. Arjun Reddy or paramedics should be providing this. Example, nurse, lab technician, physiotherapist, all these people, so they are covered here. So these people are providing, these people are the supplier, clinical establishments, authorized medical practitioner or paramedics providing services. What services? So obviously providing healthcare service. Healthcare service, just now we have seen the definition. And providing transportation of patient in an ambulance, that is also exempt under GST. And the same way, veterinary clinic providing services related to healthcare services of any animals or birds is also exempt under GST. Okay, so now please understand here one interesting thing is, sir, in hospitals, if you see anybody admitted to hospitals, obviously when the person is admitted to hospital, the person will be provided with food and the person will be provided the room and they will charge for ICU separately. Like this, there are various things. Now, in a healthcare service, the exemption was given. Government was thinking, I want to get some revenue out of this healthcare service also. So they came up with an idea. Any room charges, if at all, room charges they will collect, Nora, in hospitals. So if it is greater than rupees 5,000, then it is taxable. Are you understanding the point? If it is less than or equal to 5,000, fully exempt. Greater than 5,000, fully taxable. So let us keep it clear, fully taxable. Okay, so that is what the point. But sir, if it is, imagine ICU or CCU, critical care unit, or intensive critical cardiac care unit, or neonatal intensive care unit. In these cases, for ICU, CCU, ICCU or NICU, it is fully exempt no matter what is the value, irrespective of the value, it is fully exempt under GST. Are you able to understand? Because already you are entering into ICU or ICCU, all that stuff with some emergency, correct? I don't want to increase the emergency by charging GST on that. Okay, so that is the whole idea. Now, sir, one more interesting thing is some senior doctors or consultants, etc., will be coming to the hospital and providing their services. Now, for example, Dr. Vishnu Vardhan, MBBS, FRCS, London written. Whenever in Apollo hospitals, any VVIP case, any critical case comes into picture, they will call me, Vishnu sir, you please come and check, give your opinion. I go provide my services and I will charge to Apollo hospitals, not to the patient directly. Taxable or exempt? Exempt, because I am an authorized medical practitioner. I am also providing healthcare service. Recipient can be Apollo hospitals, recipient can be any patient, whatever it is. Am I clear? So, the senior doctors or the consultants or the technicians, whatever, whether employees or not, that is a different story, are exempt under GST because they also amount to healthcare service. And next clarification is regarding, see, sir, food we are supplying to patients, no sir, in the hospitals. See, food supplied to inpatients, is it taxable or exempt? Sir, supplying food to the patient is part and parcel of healthcare service. I cannot ask the patient to go and have some mutton biryani, chicken biryani, come lie on the bed in the operation theater and we do the surgery. No, that is not how it works. So please understand, food supplied to inpatients is as per the as a part of healthcare service, not taxable. But if some outsiders are coming and eating in the hospital canteens, or the patient who is not admitted is eating in the hospital canteen, all that stuff, sir, that is taxable if it is supplied by the canteens run by the outsourced agencies. Please understand that. And not only that, no, please understand, any other supplies of food by hospital to the patients not admitted or their attendants or visitors are also taxable. Okay, so that is the point. And ambulance services we have already discussed, it is exempt under GST no matter whether it is provided by some government or as per a public private or partnership, etc., whatever it is. So ambulance services are exempt under GST. So here please understand, purely whatever the healthcare services are provided, they are only exempt under GST. For example, you go to Apollo hospital, you see, like when somebody is like got heart attack and went into Apollo hospitals, he is being admitted into Apollo hospitals, while taking inside he is seeing right side LIC advertisement. जिंदगी के साथ भी, जिंदगी के बाद भी. That means even during the life, even after the life. What if that fellow has not taken LIC policy? There itself he will die. Right? You will be seeing some SBI credit card, etc., etc. advertisements. These type of things taxable or exempt. They are taxable. They are not healthcare services. So services other than healthcare, such as renting the shops, auditoriums in the premises of clinical establishments, displaying the advertisements, all that stuff will be taxable under GST. That is what with respect to healthcare service. And of course rehabilitation professionals also, like rehabilitation professionals, they will be providing services by way of rehabilitation, therapy, counseling, all that stuff. Sir, that is exempt under GST. But important thing is rehabilitation professional should not be doing this separately, like setting up his office or clinic, all that stuff. Sir, he is providing this service in a medical establishment or education institution or a rehabilitation center set up by central government, state government or section 12 AA entity. There he is providing this rehabilitation or therapy or counseling services, then only it is exempt. I repeat, rehabilitation professional doing this separately on his own somewhere outside privately, that is not exempt, that is very much taxable. Okay, provided in these three areas only is exempt under GST. Okay, with that we are done with healthcare services as well. Let us move on to the next entry, government services. So the next category, government services. If you remember, we have already seen, sir, panchayat and municipality are entrusted with certain duties as per article 243W and 243G. These things, if they provide directly to the public, that is neither SOG nor SOS, we have already seen in schedule 3. Same way now, if these things are outsourced by this government to the governmental authority and governmental authority is providing these services, okay, then it is exempt under GST. Am I clear? If these services are provided by governmental authority, then it is exempt under GST. So I have given some examples here, like what are the duties as per article 243W and G. You can just go through. Now coming to the next one, this entry we have already discussed. If you remember, in our part 1 of the marathon, we have discussed it when we are discussing reverse charge mechanism. There we have discussed this particular entry, if you remember. So the point here is, the concept here is, sir, government services we have connected with RCM and we have discussed. So again I will just brief up and summarize for you the concept. See, government services, when we are talking about government services, here understand, central government, state government, union territory or local authority providing all services to any person are exempt under GST other than A, B, C, D. So that means these four are what? Taxable. What are four? You should remember this A, B, C in order. A, B, C, 6 A, B, C. This entry you should remember 6 A, B, C. So 6 A, B, C when we are seeing, sir, 6 A, B, C. Sir, A is Postal Department service and Railway Department service, Indian Railways. Next, B is service in relation to aircraft or a vessel, whether inside or outside the port or airport, that's a different story. Transportation of goods and passengers. Transportation of goods and passengers, relaxation is not here. Relaxation might be given in some different entry, don't worry. So as of now here it is taxable. Okay. Now coming to the point. Sir, government, if they are providing any services, we understand government is having two customers. One is general public, the other is business entity. Listen, I am absolutely sure nobody else can summarize this so simply and in such a crispy way. So listen carefully. Government services, we have two customers. Government has two customers. One is general public, the other is business entity. Sir, government providing anything to general public, obviously exempt under GST. But if they are providing A, B, C, that is taxable under forward charge. Remaining any service you provide to general public, that is exempt. So no RCM, no FCM. Okay, fine. Coming to business entities, sir, government providing services to business entity, no. So government customer is another fellow is business entity. Whatever you provide to business entity, if it is ABC, again taxable for C, for general public itself, that is taxable for you, obviously taxable. So taxable under FCM. Okay. Now, sir, any other service if the government provides, then we should see whether the business entity is a small business entity or not. Small business entity means, just for our discussions, a small business entity means a business entity whose aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year, does not exceed the threshold limits. That means they are not even doing the turnover which makes them liable for registration at least. So aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year does not exceed the threshold limit for registration. For such type of business entity, any service provided by government is exempt, other than ABC, because ABC is always taxable for every business entity. So if you are a small business entity, all other services are exempt. But no sir, I am not a small business entity, my turnover is per annum 100 crores, 150 crores sir, what should I do? Then for you, one relaxation is there. If consideration charged by the government for the service is less than or equal to 5,000, then it is exempt. But if the consideration charged is greater than 5,000, fully taxable under RCM. Here, so that is what the concept here. Okay, simple one. If you want, you can just pause the video and copy this. Right, so even I'll just give you example also here. You can just pause the video and copy this, or you can just go through this. Okay, so the example covering all the things here, right? So that is what all about government services. Yes, go through this later on. Now coming to the point. So the entire entry 6, 7, 8, 9 all together we have covered. So you can just go through the remaining things here. And 9D is all about central government, state government or section 12A entity running the old age homes for people who are its residents of 60 or above. That means greater than or equal to 60 years. And for that, if consideration they are charging, is greater than or equal to 5,000 per month per member, including the lodging, boarding, maintenance, all that. So it is taxable. That means less than or equal to 25,000 per member per month, exempt. If it is greater than 25,000, fully taxable. Now, not only that, central government, state government or unitary guaranteeing the loans taken by the banking companies, loans taken by the public sector undertakings from banking companies or financial institutions. For that, the central government, state government, union territory is giving guarantee. For that, government is taking guarantee commission, that is exempt under GST. This entry 62 now irrelevant because of the clarification we have seen. If you remember in supply concept under schedule 2, I have taught you like paying the penalties, tolerating the act, all that stuff, breaching the contract, liquidated damages is not a supply. You are not tolerating something for a consideration. So that concept here, see, I told you already in that part 1 marathon. If you see, after 5 years government has given a clarification on this. Earlier, breach of contract, the liquidated damages, etc. also we have been paying GST, and they gave exemption also. If it is provided by government, then it is exempt under GST. Okay, now after 5 years in 2022 they have released a circular saying that no, there is no consideration for tolerating the breach. So there is no agreement to tolerate the breach and there is no consideration for that. It is not a supply, like that they have clarified. Okay, that is the concept. Okay, fine. Next, here if you see, government providing services of what? Testing, calibration, safety check, certification, all that stuff. Okay, where any registration is required under any law. For that also, if they are providing any services to business entities, exempt under GST. Government is issuing passport, visa, driving license, birth or death certificates to the sole proprietor who is doing business, all that, he is also business entity, so exempt under GST. Or assigning the natural resources for the farmers, individual farmers. That is important here. This is not any corporate company who is into agricultural business. It is to individual farmer. They are assigning the natural resources for cultivation or rearing of animals except horses, exempt under GST. Government deputing the officers after the officers. See, when you are loading and unloading the goods, you should be doing that loading and unloading goods in case of import and export under the supervision of proper officer. Because if the proper officer is not there, it will be like Pushpa 2 movie. What you are unloading, what you are loading, God only knows, correct? So the point is that it should be done under the supervision of proper officer. And proper officer is also what? There is a government official, he will have some working hours, he will be having holidays, all that stuff. So if any import or export is happening and there are some holidays, etc., you want to load or unload the goods after the office hours or during the public holidays, yes, that will be done. Only thing, you pay some extra consideration called merchant overtime charges, it will be get done. So that is exempt under GST. Next, 65B not required at your level, just ignore. We are done with category 5. We are moving into category 6, construction services. So if you are watching this till now, so please understand, yes, you might have obviously liked the discussion, all that stuff. So please make sure you are liking the video so that it will reach further, and if possible, please also give comment, give your opinion about the video or lecture below this video, so it will reach more number of students and it will be beneficial for them also, for me also, right? Fine. So category 6, construction services. Coming to construction services, here understand, first I will discuss about the odd man out. There are 3 entries here. First, this fellow, odd fellow, I will discuss electricity distribution utilities. See, this electricity distribution utilities, like for example Tamil Nadu Electricity Board or SPDCL, Southern Power Distribution Corporation Limited, something SPDCL. So like this, sir, any electricity distribution utilities, what they are doing now, see, they will have this electricity infrastructure laid where people are normally residing, all that stuff. They would have given their electricity connection, all that, and they would have been providing electricity services. But sir, for a farmer who has his agriculture land somewhere far away from the residential area, regular residential area, there he will have the farmland and he will have the well. So from the well he has to pump the water, correct? For pumping the water they need electricity. So for that he is going and applying for electricity connection. Say for one particular person who is staying there, for him electricity department cannot afford and construct this electricity infrastructure, distribution infrastructure there. So they are charging extra consideration from him, saying that, sir, for construction or erection or in commissioning or installation of infrastructure for extending the electricity distribution network up to the tube well of the farmer or agriculturist for agriculture use, that is exempt under GST, sir. So we are providing to the farmer or agriculturist laying the electricity distribution line, okay, infrastructure up to the tube well of the farmland for agriculture use, that is exempt under GST. So this is one thing, right? Now entry number 10 and entry number 11 here are a little bit connected, okay, I mean comes under almost similar concept. What is that concept now? So first of all, you should remember for this the thing, like a word you should understand called original works. Before going to the discussion, you should understand a word called original works. Original works, as per the definition, the analysis, I am giving you complete analysis, you understand that. So original works, the definition says, it means it is all about brand new construction, no repairs, no alteration, all that stuff, maintenance, all that, brand new construction. Now you also remember pure labor contract and works contract, we have discussed again in part 1 of the marathon. Sir, pure labor contract means what? I am the contractor, I will bring only labor. Works contract means I will bring both material also, I will bring labor also to you. So for constructing your house, if I am bringing labor as well as material, constructing it and giving to you, if you remember, it is called works contract. No, I am just bringing the labor, you go and buy the bricks, you go and buy the cement, you go and buy the iron and steel, all that stuff, and I will do the construction and leave. Then that is called pure labor contract. Both are supply of service only, sir, whether it is works contract or whether it is pure labor contract. But here the exemption is given only for pure labor contracts, only for pure labor contracts in both the things. So here I think I have just missed out here. So pure labor contract. pure labor contract. So pure labor contract of construction, erection, commission, installation of original works. See here, this entry, if you see this entry number 10, this will talk about both original works as well as non-original works. Because if you see here, there are the words construction, erection, commission, installation, completion, fitting out, repair. See, look at this word: repair, maintenance, renovation, alteration. Okay, of any or any other original works under housing for all, urban mission, or Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. See here, the stressing point is normally the poor people who are eligible, who are beneficiaries of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, in which government is constructing the houses for poor people. So for that beneficiary, we are providing pure labor contract. It can be original works or it can be non-original works. That means it can be repair or renovation also, it can be brand new construction also. For that he is paying us, that is exempt under GST. Why? Because if you charge GST there, indirectly you are collecting GST from the government only, that will be burden on the government. So here both original works, non-original works, focus is on pure labor contract. So again I repeat, here if it is works contract, it is taxable. Here if it is works contract, it is taxable. If it is works contract, then it is taxable. Okay, so if it is works contract, it is taxable. Now, so please understand. So pure labor contract, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana or housing for all urban mission, original works and non-original works, exempt under GST. Any condition is violated, taxable. Here if you see pure labor contract, purely original works, only original works. That means non-original works taxable. What about works contract? Taxable. Are you understanding the point? Here, okay sir, pure labor contract, only original works. For what sir? For constructing single residential unit, otherwise as a part of a residential complex. That means pure labor contract I am providing for your independent individual house, a single residential unit which is not as a part of a residential complex, not apartment, not flats. Okay, as a part of single residential unit. So I am providing the services of pure labor contract, constructing that house, maybe a villa or maybe a small house, it doesn't matter. Okay, that will be exempt under GST. So there the focus was on Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Here it is all about single residential unit. So residential complex, here I have given a meaning any complex comprising of any building or buildings or having more than one single residential unit. So single residential unit means self-contained residential unit which is designed for use wholly or principally for residential purpose of one family. Okay, and original works I gave here the meaning. So no repairs and maintenance. Okay, original works means brand new construction. Shall we continue? So that is what with respect to these three, 10, 10A and 11 construction category. So this you can just ignore for your exam, don't worry about it. Next we are done with category number 6. Category number 7 we are moving. Allah for a reason, passenger transportation services. So let us move on to this. Sir, what are these passenger transportation services? What is the exemption we are enjoying here? Let us see. So in this passenger transportation service, first of all, transportation of passengers by air in economy class. Please understand this, in business class, that means what? It is taxable. So here the interesting part is, if your journey is starting or terminating, embarking or terminating, that means either start or end, the starting point or ending point. The starting point or ending point is in where? In an airport located in the states Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, Tripura, Bagdogra of West Bengal. What is this, Arna? So please understand, I have a code for this. Standing, ma'am. Just like standing ma'am we have seen in composition scheme. Yes, standing ma'am. Where ma'am is standing? At Bagdogra. In this case, your journey is starting in or ending in Sikkim, Tripura, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Assam, Mizoram, Meghalaya. Exempt under this, of course, Bagdogra. These cases, it is exempt under GST. But either starting point or ending point should be these things. For example, you are traveling from Chennai to Delhi via Assam. Then this is taxable. Sir, this is exempt or this is exempt. Are you understanding the point? Chennai to Assam is exempt or Delhi to Assam, Assam to Delhi is exempt, but Chennai to Delhi via Assam is not exempt, it is taxable. Clear? So that is what the concept. Next, if you are transporting the passengers through non-AC contract carriage other than radio taxi, excluding for tourism purpose conducted tour charter or hire, then it is exempt. That means radio taxi, tourism, charter or hire, all that stuff is taxable. Remaining any purpose, it is exempt. Stage carriage also, sir, if it is AC stage carriage, then it is AC means taxable, non-AC means exempt. Sir, first of all, what is the difference between non-AC contract carriage and contract carriage and stage carriage? Contract carriage is the entire carriage you are taking on contract. So it will be at your disposal, and it will be like, sir, only the people whom you have mentioned in the contract, they will be boarding and deboarding the vehicle, but not anybody else. For example, your marriage got fixed, you are taking a vehicle to pick up and drop your friends. So you told the particular bus owner, so this is the place, from Chennai to Bangalore people should be transported and then should be brought back. So this is a contract carriage. Stage carriage means at regular stages of journey, sir, at every stage people will board and deboard. Example are normal local bus or even a share auto, or even let us assume I am traveling from Chennai to Mumbai via Hyderabad. People will get down in Hyderabad, will board in Hyderabad. So if I am traveling till Hyderabad, I will pay till only Hyderabad. So for the stages of journey, you will pay the consideration. That means entire bus is not in my contract, right? So I am just booking a seat in the bus and going there. Okay, so that is stage carriage. But if the entire bus like is booked for us, then it is contract carriage. Okay, right. So here for this, I have a small flow chart for you. 1 second. So I have a flow chart here, and I have missed out one small point here. Let me just cover. See, transportation of passengers, sir. If it is a contract carriage or stage carriage, whatever you take, sir. If it is AC, straight away taxable. Yes or no? No matter whether it is contract carriage or stage carriage. If it is non-AC, then what we have to see now, sir. If it is for conducted tour, charter or hire, tourism purpose, then it is taxable. Are you understanding the point? No, sir, it is for any other purpose. Any other purpose also, please understand, if you are booking that through e-commerce operator under 9 subsection 5, then also it is taxable. That point I have not given here. So if these two are provided through e-commerce operator under section 9 subsection 5, then it becomes taxable. Even though it is non-AC, So if for other purpose, still you are booking that contract carriage through e-commerce operator under 9 subsection 5, then it is taxable. Any other case, as I told, for example, for the wedding purpose, you are taking a bus, you are going directly talking with the bus owner, taking the bus on contract, then it is exempt under GST. So I have clearly given the flow chart and the examples also. Please make sure you are pausing the video and taking a screenshot of it or taking a note of it, whatever you want, you do it. But this is the whole picture. If you see contract carriage, I told non-AC, AC, non-AC. If you see non-AC, as we have discussed, conducted tour, charter or hire or tourism purpose, taxable. If it is through 9 subsection 5 e-commerce operator, then it is taxable. In all other cases, it is exempt. Coming to stage carriage AC is taxable. And remaining other cases, if it is through e-commerce operator under 9 subsection 5, then it is taxable. No, sir, it is other cases, then it is exempt. That means, for example, sir, I am booking a bus. I am booking the bus from Chennai to Hyderabad. Non-AC, AC bus is taxable. AC bus is taxable. But non-AC bus, sir, non-AC bus, I am booking through GoIBibo, taxable. No, I am directly going to the travel fellow buying the ticket. exempt, non-AC. Okay, so that is what the point. And transportation of passengers through metered cabs or auto rickshaws also will be seeing the next entries through e-commerce operator will be, yes, taxable. That means normal auto it is exempt, Ola auto is taxable. Okay, so that is what about transportation of passengers in this particular entry. Fine. So let us move on to the next one. Airline operators. The government will be constructing various airports in tier 2, tier 3 cities and all under regional connectivity scheme. So government will construct the airports, sir, but who will operate airlines from that particular place or airport where the traffic is less? Airline operators now asking, sir, this is not financially viable for us to operate the aircraft. Government is saying, don't worry, airline operator, you provide service for me of operating the aircraft from the regional connectivity scheme airport. I will give you the fund. I will close that viability gap for you. In the name of viability gap funding, they will pay consideration. That consideration is exempt under GST, and that exemption is available up to 3 years from the commencement of the operations of that RCS airport. So I repeat, airline operators operating their aircraft from regional connectivity scheme airport is exempt under GST. Next, if you see, sir, transportation services again, sir, here in this case we are going to see transportation services provided by railways. Understand, here we have just now discussed government services, there they said it is taxable, but they are giving exemption here in this particular entry, so you can enjoy the exemption. If you are a railway department and you are transporting the passengers it is exempt under GST other than first class and AC. That means first class and AC is taxable, remaining all classes like other classes as we have been discussing, sir, general class or sleeper class, even monorail, metro, tramway, all these things are also exempt. Okay, so I repeat, this railways is given in, yes, government services, they said it is taxable. In this entry number 17, they are specifically giving an exemption, Look at the next ones, look at the next one. Waterways, roadways. Now, sir, waterways, if you see, waterways, if through inland waterways we are transporting, it is exempt under GST. Or other than inland waterways, you are transporting through international waterways also, whatever it is, but between places located within India through vessel other than tourism purpose is exempt. That means for tourism purpose it is taxable. For example, sir, we are going from Chennai to Andaman through a vessel. So for your clarity, I will write down vessel like that. Again, you will feel what this fellow is trying. Okay, Chennai to Andaman. Now, please understand, why are you traveling? That doesn't matter. Why that vessel is being operated, sir? That vessel is being operated for tourism purpose. For tourism purpose, then it is taxable. No, sir, not for tourism. Not for tourism. I repeat, why you are traveling is irrelevant. Why that vessel is being operated, that matters. Okay, then it is exempt. Okay, are you understanding the point? Please ignore my handwriting because I want to cover the video, finish the video in less time, so I am just not focusing on writing all that stuff. So then it is exempt if it is not for tourism purpose. If it is for tourism purpose, then it is taxable. The same way, sir, if you go through roadways, the metered cabs, auto rickshaws is exempt, including e-rickshaws, but if the same is provided through section 9 subsection 5 e-commerce operator, then it will be taxable. Just now I have shown you in the notes, normal auto is exempt, but Ola auto is taxable. Clear? So metered cabs also, all that stuff. Shall we proceed? So that is with respect to passenger transportation service. Let us move on to the next one, goods transportation service. Sir, goods transportation services, any person providing services of transporting the goods by roadways is exempt, sir. But if at all it is done through GTA or courier agency or express cargo services, then only it is taxable. Any other mode is exempt. Any other mode exempt. And also as I told, I have written here itself, other roadways is exempt. Okay, so that is what the concept. Next, sir, through inland waterways you are transporting the goods, exempt. Sir, transporting the goods by rail, vessel, goods carriage. See, understand here, they said This is mode of transportation, how you are transporting. Based on that, the exemption is given. But here, in this particular case, we are discussing exemption is based on type of goods. Exemption is based on type of goods. So what is the exemption based on type of goods? Agricultural produce, milk, salt, food grains including flours, pulses, rice, organic manure, relief material for any victims of natural or man-made disasters, calamities, accidents, mishaps, or defense or military equipments, newspapers, magazines which are registered with the register of newspapers. If these things, if you are transporting, no matter what is the value, exempt under GST. Guys, we are discussing about the transportation charges. The transportation charges are exempt under GST, provided if you are transporting them in this way or you are transporting this goods. Okay, based on the mode of transportation or based upon type of goods, we have given the exemption here. And one more thing, please understand, earlier there was an exemption related to transportation of goods based on 1500 or 750 rupees the value. Now that exemption is not there. So if you see anywhere any question with this particular numbers, please understand that exemption is now not there. So whether it is 50 rupees also now it is taxable, if it is taxable, or if it is 5000 rupees also it is taxable. Based on value there is no exemption anymore. Based on value there is no exemption anymore. Am I clear? Hope this is clear for you. Okay, so that is one thing. Next, this we have already discussed in RCM. Already discussed in RCM. If you remember, GTA is having 3 customers. One is specified recipients, other than specified recipients, and government departments, all that stuff, who is registered under section 51 for the purpose of section 51. If it is providing to specified recipients, it is taxable. But if the GTA is providing services to people, services, transportation of goods to anybody other than specified recipients or section 51 entities, these things are exempt under GST. So no RCM, no FCM, we have already discussed that. Okay, so that is what the concept. Now, so with this we are done with another category also, category number 9, transportation of goods. Now we are moving into category number 9. So the banking and financial services, if you see, obviously we have seen from long time, sir, any person providing services of extending loans, advances, deposits where the consideration is in the form of interest or discount will be exempt under GST, but other than credit card interest. That means only credit card interest will be taxable. Credit card interest will be taxable. Okay, remaining any interest, it can be home loan or gold loan or it can be personal loan, all that stuff. So if at all you are charging or paying interest on home or education or personal loans, sir, that is exempt under GST. That is exempt under GST. Am I clear? Only credit card interest is taxable. But sir, something else like minimum balance charges, service charges, fees or documentation fees, broking charges or administrative charges, etc., entry charges, whatever such like charges charged by these banks, financial institutions, or anybody for that matter will be taxable. They are not exempt, liable to GST. That means they are taxable. Please understand that they are taxable. Clear? Now, see, always understand whenever it comes about interest, we have discussed even in the previous marathon parts also, when we are talking about interest is of two types. One is, please understand, I have given clearly example here. I am selling mobile to you, or let us take here the example itself. Mr. Ram is buying mobile from Mr. Beam. Okay, so for that 40,000 rupees worth of mobile, Beam has given an option to pay 4 months installments, 11,000 every month. So now please understand, here there is no middle person. That means sale is happening from Beam to Ram. So now Beam is charging an interest. From Ram. For what? Because Beam is allowing Ram to pay the consideration late. So this interest, this late fee, whatever has been charged, for that GST will be charged. Or imagine another case where Sir, Ram is buying mobile from Beam, and for buying that mobile, he is taking loan from Triple R Limited. That means sale is happening from Beam to Ram, but there is a middle person called Triple R Limited, which is giving loan to Ram. So Ram will pay interest to Triple R Limited. Here they are giving loan or advance or deposit for which they are charging interest. This is exempt under GST. That is what we are discussing. So if you see, interest comes in two circumstances. One is seller himself is allowing you some time to pay, extra time to pay. For that he is collecting interest. That will be added to the value of supply. If you remember value of supply chapter inclusions, and that will be subjected to GST on the receipt of payment as per time of supply provisions, if you remember. Coming to the next category, sir, I am giving you loan, or I am giving you advance, or I am giving you deposit. For that I am collecting consideration. That means I am selling something to you, and in middle there is some NBFC or bank or somebody is interfering and giving you loan, and you are paying interest to that person. That is supply of service, but exempt under GST. So interest charged by the supplier himself for allowing time will be added to the value of supply and will be taxed. But somebody else is giving you not time but loan or advance or deposit, for that they are charging interest or discount, that will be exempt under GST. Clear? So that is what the concept. So you can just go with this. The examples are very clear. So with this we are done with that particular entry, and next there are various entries here. Like if you see, banks or authorized forex dealers among themselves, they are buying and selling foreign currency, that is exempt. But if these people are providing that to general public, then it will be taxable. So I repeat, banks and foreign currency dealers, they are providing services among themselves of buying and selling foreign currency for a commission, that is exempt. But these people provide the same thing to public, general public, then it is taxable. Okay, so these things you can just manage. And next we are talking about this acquiring bank. Here this is something interesting. See, what is this all about? Acquiring bank, settlement, all that stuff. So if you see here, normally when you are going for swiping any cards, all the stuff, when you swipe the card, obviously the merchant will get the amount. So for settling that amount to the merchant, when you are swiping the card, that swiping machine belongs to a bank, that is called acquiring bank. So if you are swiping the card, they will charge commission. Okay, commission is there for sure. But if the settlement amount is less than or equal to 2000, there is commission, and that commission is exempt under GST. But if you are swiping the card and the amount is greater than 2000, there is commission, but that commission is taxable under GST. Remember this entry. Regarding this, there is a clarification also, we will discuss. Okay, now parallelly I will just discuss that. What is that now all about? See, first of all, you have understood when you are swiping the card, the settlement is going to merchant, and for that settlement, if for the single transaction, if it is less than or equal to 2000, commission is there. Greater than 2000 also, commission is there. But less than or equal to 2000, that commission charge is exempt under GST. If it is greater than 2000, that is taxable. The commission is taxable. Okay, now here there is a clarification here. What is that clarification all about now? Come to this page. Okay, what is that all about? Now see here, the concept is supplier is supplying some goods, and for that acquiring bank charges commission. Supplier is supplying the goods or services, whatever it is. For that, acquiring bank, which is allowing you to swipe the card, all the stuff, they will settle to the merchant, but they will charge commission. Here the interesting thing is, if you are using this RuPay or BIM UPI, the government said to this acquiring banks, you don't charge commission from the merchant. So whatever the merchant should get, pay the amount fully to the merchant, settle the amount fully. That means you are swiping RuPay card for 10,000 rupees na, entire 10,000 rupees will go to the merchant. But if you are swiping 10,000 rupees through any master or visa cards na, then the merchant bank will deduct 2% commission or etc. and pay the balance amount to the supplier or merchant. So in this case, if you see, RuPay or BIM UPIs has been used, and the merchant will get full amount, acquiring bank will not deduct any commission. Why? Because government will give them the incentive. So government says, I will pay you that amount, don't worry, you don't charge it from merchant. So this is similar to incentives provided by government. No sir, that is nothing but subsidy by government. Or that means acquiring bank, imagine they have to charge 200 rupees for the transaction. Acquiring bank is charging how much? 0 rupees. Why? Because government is giving them the 200 rupees. That means because of this subsidy given by the government, which is directly linked to the price, that means you will charge normally 200 rupees, but why are you charging 0 rupees? Because you are getting subsidy from the government. So this is similar to subsidy given by the government, excluded from the value of supply. So no GST. Are you understanding the point? Are you understanding the point? So if the acquiring bank, sir, when RuPay card or BIM UPIs are used, will not charge commission from the merchant, because government will give incentive. That incentive is nothing but similar to subsidy. So subsidy given by government, which is directly linked to the price, and hence it is not taxable. But sir, for other cards you will charge commission, or that settlement amount, if it is greater than 2000, that commission is taxable. Otherwise it is exempt under GST. So that is what the concept. So just make sure you are clear with this. Either take a screenshot or copy it somewhere as you wish. Okay. So this is with respect to that acquiring bank, along with the clarification. Clarification is regarding that RuPay or BIM UPIs. There was a clarification. Yes, this is what all about that. Okay. So with this we are done with that also. Next, this entry you can just ignore for your exams. No issues. IFSC, you just remember that intermediary financial services in IFSC will be exempt under GST. That is in International Financial Services Center. So it will be exempt under GST if the services are provided to customers located outside India. Okay. Next, life insurance services. Life insurance services and this general insurance services, you can just go with the services provided by specified bodies, all that. So you can just go through that, no concept involved there. And this pension services also. This business facilitator, business correspondent, please take it important. We have seen this in RCM also. Sir, business facilitator, business correspondent providing their services to banking company in rural area. This is very, very important. If it is provided in urban area, it will become taxable. So please be careful. Business facilitator or business correspondent providing their services to banking companies or insurance companies in rural area is exempt under GST. That means, see here, business facilitator or these people are having agent. They are providing services to business facilitator or business correspondent, and these people are providing services to banks in rural area. These people providing service is also exempt. These people providing service is also exempt. But one interesting point is business facilitator, altogether a different point. I have summarized these two actually, but this one is all about business facilitator or business correspondent to insurance company in rural area. That alone is exempt. So if these people are getting any services from agent, that is not given an exemption, so that means it is taxable. Hope you are clear with this. Okay, so this is different and this is different. Are you understanding the point? So agent to business facilitator or business correspondent of providing services to banking company in rural area, that entire chain is exempt. But if business facilitator or business correspondent is providing services to insurance companies in rural area, that alone is exempt. They did not speak about agent to business facilitator or business correspondent in this case. So that will become taxable. Hope it is clear for you. Okay, so please be very clear with this, important, because connected to RCM also. Next, services provided to government. If you see services provided to government, again any person providing services, please remember this one also, these entries. See, we have seen already, sir, government to public, what services? 243W or 243G. It is schedule 3, neither SOG nor SOS. But any person providing services to government, 243W or 243G, full supply of service or 25% supply of goods and balance supply of service. All these things are what? Exempt under GST. Exempt under GST. I have discussed this also here. Are you able to understand? So, government providing services to public, 243W, 243G is schedule 3, neither SOG nor SOS. But any person providing to government, that means government has outsourced it. Maintenance of parks or maintenance of street lights, maintaining the roads, all that stuff. Where they have outsourced this. Fully they are providing services to government, exempt. Government is paying them 10 lakhs monthly, exempt. Or they are also using some goods and also providing services. Majority is services and partly goods. That means up to 25% of the total value. If it is goods, no problem. Balance if it is services, then it is exempt under GST. That transaction is exempt under GST. Here fully I have finished. Clear? So that is what that point. So please be careful. And the ration shop dealers commission, fair price shops, so whatever the commission they get is exempt under GST. So I can say here, ration shop dealers commission, okay, exempt under GST. And next, any insurance company providing services to government where the entire insurance premium is paid by the government, that is exempt under GST. And any training programs conducted by any person where the total training program cost conducted for that up to 75% or more is borne by whom? 75% or more is borne by central government or state government, then also it is exempt under GST. That means total expenditure greater than or equal to 75% is exempt. If it is less than 75%, it becomes taxable, okay. For example, 10,000 is the cost for that program and government is paying 8,000 rupees, then fully that it is exempt. But government is bearing only 6,000, then such type of services are taxable, okay. And here they said, sir, free coaching services provided by any coaching institutions and NGOs under the central scheme called Scholarship for Students with Disabilities, where total expenditure is borne by government, obviously will come under this entry. So that is exempt under GST. Yes or no? Okay, so that way it is. Next, this leasing services, remember, long-term lease is provided by any state government industrial development corporation. In industrial areas, there will be state government industrial development corporations where they will be leasing the land to industrial units or developers. So long-term lease means at least minimum 30 years lease will be there, and there should be upfront payment. Upfront payment means lease amounts are, let us assume they said for 30 years or more, the lease payment is upfront payment. Imagine they said the lease payment should be 10 crores. Okay, no monthly rental, no monthly rental, no monthly rental. If it is monthly rent, it is taxable. No monthly rent, 10 crores, full upfront payment, 10 crore lump sum payment, for your understanding. Okay, lump sum payment. He can pay this 10 crore lump sum payment, can be paid in installments. Please understand that, can be paid in installments. Are you understanding the point? But no monthly rent should be there. Monthly rent is there, then it will become taxable. If it is monthly rent, then obviously monthly rent will be taxable. Monthly rent is there now, taxable. Hope it is clear for you. Hope it is clear for you. Right? So that is what the point. So next one, sir, there are some cases like preferential allotment will be there. So preferential location charges will be there. Sir, I want this particular 10 acres which is very close to highway, sir. That one I want as long term lease. Take it, pay extra consideration. That's all. This is also nothing but what lease. So you enjoy the exemption. So preferential location charges are also what? Exempt under GST. Okay, so that is exempt. Next, legal services. If you see, again the another important one, legal services. So if you see the legal services here, see, arbitral tribunal, senior advocate, individual advocate, or firm of advocates. So 1, 2, 3, 4 people are there here: individual advocate, firm of advocate, senior advocate, and arbitral tribunal. These people providing legal services are exempt to any person other than business entity. Can I say individuals? Or even a business entity whose aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year does not exceed the threshold limit, making them liable for registration. That means simple, we have understood now already, small bet. That means for our understanding, we have referred them as small business entities. That means their aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year is not even exceeding the threshold limit, making them liable for registration. Okay, so that way. And finally, government. Central government, state government, union territory, local authority, or government entity, or government body. Government entity, sorry. Okay, then also it is exempt under GST. So here, if you see, there is one extra point, that is, sir, if you are an individual advocate or firm of advocates, if they provide legal services to advocates or firm of advocates, so within their group, here please understand, senior advocate is not given here, because senior advocate does not have that feeling, oh, this fellow is also advocate, let me provide and let us give exemption. So if you see, there is an example here. One second. Now see, for example here, sir, there are 3 important characters: Jolly LLB, individual advocate; Vakil Saab, senior advocate; Ram Jetmalani and co, firm of advocates. Okay, so now first of all understand, among themselves, whatever they do, only individual advocate and firm of advocates have that feeling, your opposite fellow is also advocate, so let us give exemption. But senior advocate will not have that point. So Jolly LLB providing services to Ram Jetmalani and co, firm of advocates. Sir, advocates to advocates other than senior advocate, exempt under GST. So this is exempt. Okay, but senior advocate providing services to advocate or firm of advocates, it is just like, again, they are providing some services to business entity. We have to see whether they are aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year is exceeding the threshold limit or not. So based on that, we have to decide the exemption. So assuming they are doing very good turnover, yes, that is taxable. If their aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year is not exceeding the threshold limits, then they will be treated as small business entity, they can enjoy the relaxation. Okay, now coming to outsiders. Jolly LLB, the advocate, is giving some legal services regarding divorce case to Mr. Imran Hashmi, not a person other than business entity. So exempt under GST. He is providing some legal services with respect to income tax matters for Sonu Sudan Co, charitable organization registered under GST. So yes, not a small business entity, taxable. Income tax dispute to Mr. Pushparaj, or let us assume recently he got arrested, for that he is providing some legal services. That will come under personal category, not business entity. Okay, so Pushparaj exports and imports, sole proprietor, for that business we are providing some legal services, it is exempt. For central government, we are providing in international court related to some external affairs, some services, so that is also exempt under GST. So if it is taxable, taxable under RCM legal services, right? So this is the whole example of legal services. If you want to take, you can take a screenshot or whatever it is. So this is what about legal services. Hope you are clear. Am I clear? So with this, we are done with this legal services as well. Next, sponsorship services. If you see sponsorship services, sponsorship of events, sporting events conducted by these particular bodies, if you see, then it is exempt under GST. Who are the bodies? They are nothing but National Sports Federations and its affiliates like BCCI, etc. All India Sports Council for Deaf, Paralympic Committee of India, Special Olympics Bharat, Association of Indian Universities, Inter-University Sports Board, Central Civil Services Cultural and Sports Board, Indian Olympic Association, under Panchayat Yuva Krida or Khel Abhiyan scheme. So please understand, these people are conducting, but this is the scheme. Under this scheme, if these people are conducting the sporting events, for that if you advertise, that is for that if you provide sponsorship services, it is exempt under GST. Okay, next, skill development programs. This also please mark it important, please remember this. National Skill Development Corporation, NSDC, or Sector Skill Council, SSC, or assessment agencies approved by these people or training partners, whatever they are providing any service in relation to National Skill Development Program or Vocational Skill Development or any other scheme which is implemented by NSDC, exempt under GST. For skill development programs, whatever these people are conducting, the fees whatever is paid is exempt under GST. Not only that, sir, training partners are providing training, sir. That means we are outsourcing the job. Vishnu, you go and give training to the students in GST under this National Skill Development Corporation scheme. I am providing the training, but whether I am providing training properly or not, some assessing bodies are coming and verifying that, which are empaneled. Okay, so they are providing services of assessing the competencies of the persons trained under this skill development initiative scheme. So that is exempt under GST. So here the government is a recipient or a Director General of Training, MSD. Next, the training provided under the scheme of Deen Dayal Upadhyaya Gramin Kaushalya Yojana, that is also exempt under GST, the skill or vocational training services provided. Next, this is very, very important, Intira. This is regarding, if you remember, we have seen training or coaching in any form of recreational activities, arts or culture, or whatever it is. So any school, any tuition, any language, if you remember Bharatanatyam, coaching, all that. Here, this is all about performance. Sir, the important thing is you are an artist in folk or classical, and this is related to only music, dance and theatre, not anything else. So you are an artist who is coming and performing. For example, I am a Bharatanatyam dancer coming and performing in any of your like events, and I am charging consideration. If the consideration charged is not more than 1,50,000, that means less than or equal to rupees 1,50,000, then it is exempt. If it exceeds, please understand, if it is greater than 1,50,000, that means in GST, if the threshold limit is exceeded, it is fully taxable. This is not income tax, this is GST. So anywhere, any limit, if it is exceeding, fully taxable. Okay, but please understand, the brand ambassador services are taxable. The brand ambassador service, no matter you take 10 rupees also, you are a performing artist, so your duty is not, or your profession is not advertising the brand. We will be seeing some advertisements where the Bharatanatyam dancer will come and tell you which oil you should use in your kitchen. So those type of things are not covered. Brand ambassador services, even 1 rupee, it is taxable. And I repeat here, you should be a folk or classical artist, not western, not hip hop, not something else, not salsa, jalsa and all. Okay, so folk or classical form, and music, dance or theatre. With respect to this, if you are performing, and per performance, if the consideration you are charging is not exceeding 1,50,000, then it is exempt under GST. Okay, so that is what the point. If it is exceeding 1,50,000, fully taxable. And if you are acting as a brand ambassador, yes, 1 rupee also taxable, 1 rupee also taxable. Hope it is clear for you. So that is there. And next, category 21, admission to events. Please remember this properly. See here, these two cases, you are entering into a museum or national park or wildlife sanctuary, tiger reserve, zoo, all that stuff, or even protected monuments which are declared as protected monuments under Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act 1958, example like Red Fort, Taj Mahal, Golconda Fort, kind of things. So here entry fees is exempt, entry ticket is exempt, and here there is no monetary limit. Please understand that. So please be careful here. Here there is no monetary limit, but in this entry, if you see, there is monetary limit. So monetary limit of 500 rupees. If it is more than 500, fully taxable. If it is not more than 500, then it is exempt under GST. Which one? Sir, I am entering into circus, buying the ticket, dance or theatrical performances, including drama or ballets or any award functions, concerts, pageants or musical performance, or any unrecognized sporting event or recognized sporting event or planetarium, all that stuff. So for all these things, if the entry ticket charge is greater than or greater than 500, then it is taxable. If it is less than or equal to 500, then it is fully exempt. Less than or equal to 500, fully exempt. Hope it is clear to you. Okay, so please understand, here there is monetary limit, but whereas here there is no monetary limit. Hope it is clear for you. Okay, next, so we are done with that category also. Next category number 22. In this, the important thing is, sir, this resident welfare association is nothing but you are staying in apartments, then there will be a flat owners association or resident welfare association. The maintenance they are collecting for your flat, so maintenance collected for maintenance charges for the flat. So if it is less than or equal to rupees 7,500, then fully exempt. If it is exceeding 500, then fully it is taxable. If it is exceeding 7,500, then it is fully taxable. Entire amount is taxable. I already told you, sir, in GST, if you cross the limit, fully taxable. Simple. Okay, so that way. And please understand, while paying these flat maintenance charges, whatever they collect as statutory dues, any property tax kind of thing, electricity charges, all the stuff, for those things, whatever they collect is not covered in this, under this 7,500 limit. So any statutory dues will not be covered under this 7,500 limit. Sir, why we pay maintenance charges for the flat when we are staying? To pay the security salary, housekeeping salary, or common area lift. For that maintenance we are having a person, for him salary we are paying those charges, such type of things. Statutory dues not covered. Other than statutory dues, 7,500 is the limit. Am I clear? So per month, per member means in the association member, not in the house. How many members are there? So many, 7,500. No. Okay, so that is important there. So you can just go through this. And clarification on issue related to GST on subscription fees paid to resident welfare association. Just read it one time before the exam, or one time, just one time reading this is, because there is a clarification I have given, but this way they may not, and not that greatly what difficult also. You can just go through once and you can understand that. Next, any other associations or bodies which are established for the welfare of industrial or agriculture labor or farmers benefit, or for promoting trade, commerce, industry, agriculture, art, science, literature, culture, sports, education, social welfare, charitable activities, and protection of environment. For that case, if they are charging consideration, that is, I can say the annual subscription, or when you are doing this NPO accounts, all that stuff, you would have seen, or a membership fees. Okay, if it is less than or equal to rupees 1,000 per annum, okay, then it is exempt under GST. Okay, nowadays any association you take subscription fees, or any union, like 1,000 less than or equal to 1,000 is like almost very rare. So if that is the case, that is exempt under GST. Okay, and postal department services, if you understand, all the postal department services, speed post, express parcel post, life insurance agency, intermediary services, all these things are taxable. But if they are providing these services, postcard, inland letter, book post, ordinary post, where the weight is less than 10 grams, then it is exempt. Have you seen any time postcard, inland letter, book post, all that stuff? So if that is the case, that is only exempt under GST. Speed post, book express parcel post, all that kind of thing are taxable. Let us write down here: speed post, express parcel post, etc. are taxable. Okay, any intermediary services, etc., whatever the postal department provides, it is taxable only, except this. Okay, so please keep in mind. Next, another important thing is, yes, we have discussed all these things in RCM itself. We have discussed entry 5AA. Renting of residential building for use as residence is exempt under GST. If you are using it for commercial purpose, then RCM comes into picture when the recipient is registered, all that we have seen. Next, satellite launch services provided by ISRO or Antrix Corporation Limited, or third one, New Space India Limited, that is exempt under GST. Next one is any person giving on rent motor vehicles to whom, sir, motor vehicles to state road transport undertaking. Any motor vehicle which can carry more than 12 passengers, that is greater than 12. Okay, for example, for Tamil Nadu State Road Transport Corporation or Andhra Pradesh State Road Transport Corporation or whatever it is, sir, for the state road transport corporations, we are renting the buses, that is exempt under GST. Whatever the consideration that state road transport undertaking pays to us for renting the bus is exempt under GST. Okay, next, sir, we are renting the electric vehicles which can carry again more than 12 passengers to local authority, that is also exempt under GST. Next, for transporting the goods, anything you rent to GTA, that means renting a lorry to GTA, taxable or exempt, that is exempt. That is what this point number C all about. And next, point number D. Here for point number D, I have an example for you. Example. So if you see the example here, see, Mr. Pandya is a bus owner. He is renting the bus. He is renting the bus to Mr. Rohit. What Rohit is doing now? Rohit is transporting the students of Mumbai Indians English Medium High School. If you remember, sir, Mumbai Indians English Medium High School is EI1. EI1 purchasing the services of transporting their students, faculty, staff is exempt under GST as per entry 66, if you remember. So, Rohit has got a contract of transporting the students of Mumbai Indians English Medium High School, that is exempt under GST. For that, Rohit is taking a bus on rent, that is also exempt. But if you see, CSK UG College and PG College is taking the services of transporting their students. This is not EI1, so this is EI2. For EI2, this transportation of students exemption is not available, so it is taxable. So they are buying transportation services. So Dhoni is providing transporting the students of CSK UG and PG College students. So that service is taxable under entry 66. If you remember, in educational services, we have discussed that. So only for EI1 we have seen, okay, purchasing this entries, all that stuff. So purchasing the service of transportation of students, all that. Okay, so this exemption of transporting the students is available only for EI1. So in this case, if Pandya, the bus owner, is renting the bus to Mr. Rohit, then that renting of bus is also exempt. But same Pandya is providing that service of renting the bus to Dhoni, that is taxable. Hope you have understood the difference. Okay, shall we continue? So I am just connecting both the entries, entry number 22 and entry number 66. I repeat, you need not remember entry numbers. This is just for a clarity to you. Okay, you need not remember the entry numbers. Hope it is clear. So I am renting the bus to whom? To a person who is transporting the students of EI1. Then it is exempt under GST. If I am renting the bus to a person, anybody else, that is taxable. So that is what this point D all about. We have discussed it. And here, whenever we are talking about hiring the motor vehicle, giving on hire means renting the vehicles, and hence it is exempt under GST. Hope it is clear. Okay, next, the next entry is like toll charges, whatever you pay, no matter whether it is overloading charges or extra toll for not having the FASTag, all that stuff, everything is exempt. Toll charges exempt under GST. Services provided by electricity distribution or transmission utility, as I told, TNEB or SPDCL, etc., that is also exempt under GST, and the exemption is available only for transmission or distribution of electricity, but not anything else. That means if you see that these services like application fees for releasing the connection or of electricity, or rental charges against metering equipment, meters and all, they will be putting up further any rental charges they are taking, testing the meters or transformers or capacitors, or labor charges for shifting the meters or service lines from one place to another place, or charges for duplicate bills, etc. All these things will be what are taxable. Only the services by way of transmitting or distributing the electricity is exempt under GST. Okay, so that is what the concept here. Remaining things, yes, you can just go through these points. Any independent journalist or press trust of India providing services of collecting news or providing news is exempt under GST. Public libraries providing their service is exempt under GST. Event organizer conducting an event of business exhibition outside India is exempt under GST. If it is inside India, it is taxable. Right? Next, preconditioning, pre-cooling, ripening, waxing, retail packing, labeling of fruits, all the stuff which do not alter the essential characteristics of fruits and vegetables, that is also exempt under GST. So you can just go through all these things. Yes, we are almost done with that. So you just remember this one. So any person providing services as a player, coach, umpire, referee, team manager to a recognized sporting body. See, remember the code for this is retweet the cup, whatever you have won from the sporting event. Retweet the cup. So retweet the cup means you are acting as a referee, team manager, coach, or umpire, or a player. These services, if you provide to recognized sporting body, then it is exempt. But if you are a commentator, if you are a pitch curator, or anything else if they give, that is taxable. Okay, right. No sir, I am another recognized sporting body providing services to recognized sporting body. Yes, that is also exempt. For example, Tamil Nadu Cricket Association is providing services to Karnataka Cricket Association, or Karnataka Cricket Association is providing services to Hyderabad Cricket Association. All these things are exempt under GST. So hope it is clear for you, right? So remaining services, yes, you can just manage. We are done with the services. We are just left out with some clarifications. So clarifications, important clarifications for you are nothing but, see, first one. So if you see the clarifications, this one we have already seen. Regarding the Anganwadi schools, for them we are providing this midday meal scheme program, all that stuff. So Anganwadi schools are very much covered within the definition of preschool, and hence whatever the midday meal scheme programs, etc., we are providing to them, no matter who is funding that, who is providing the consideration, whether the government or NGOs, all that stuff, if you remember, regardless the government grants or corporate donations, whatever it is, so that is covered under this exemption. So it is exempt. So Anganwadi schools are very much preschool. We have discussed all that stuff in educational services itself. Let us proceed further. Next one. So the next one is, like, these educational institutions will be providing some eligibility certificates or migration certificates to students. Sir, any service provided to students by educational institution is exempt under GST. So yes, migration certificate or eligibility certificate, whatever for any purpose is provided to the students of the educational institution, so it enjoys the exemption. Okay, right. This exemption also covers their ex-students or the students who are leaving, obviously, because they were students and they are taking the service as the capacity of student. Next, what is next one? The next one is, sir, transporting the minerals within the mining area, say from mining pit to the railway siding, beneficiation plant, etc., by vehicles deployed with the driver for a specific duration, whether it enjoys exemption because it is transportation of goods by road. A simple understand. There is a mining area. From that area, these people are transporting the goods to, let us assume, a factory. Now, when they are transporting the goods, using the vehicles, please understand what will be the story. Is this transportation of goods service, or this is what? Like that. So they are asking, sir, this is transportation of goods, and transportation of goods is exempt if it is provided by anybody other than GTA or courier agency. So we are not GTA, we are not courier agency. No sir, we will take exemption here. They understand these lorries are not belonging to Yura, who is doing the mining. These lorries are not belonging to that fellow. He is taking the lorries on rent, and whenever the mining area, like we extract the minerals, etc., we load the trucks, we load the tippers or dumpers, all the stuff, and we'll send it to the factory. Here the transportation of goods service is not provided. Here renting of vehicle is provided. Please understand that renting of vehicle is provided, because renting of vehicle, the difference is vehicle will be at your disposal. Here, whether it is in our disposal or not, yes. Transportation of passenger means it will be under predetermined route or predetermined schedule. I want to go from one place to another place, booking Ola cab, yes, they are transporting the passenger, predetermined route, predetermined schedule. Vehicle will not be under my disposal. If I take a car on rent, it will be under my disposal. And here you are taking what? You are taking this vehicle on rent, renting. This is not transporting the goods services. So between the lorry owner and this mining person, the service, the nature of service is renting, which is very much taxable, It is not transportation of goods service between you. Please don't misunderstand like that. They have clearly given the clarification. Okay, so if you see, however, renting of trucks and other freight vehicles with drivers is service of renting transport vehicles with the operator, and it is not a service of road transportation, hence taxable under GST. So clearly it is given, right? So this is the next clarification. The another clarification is, sir, we will be seeing in some various programs in the TV channels, etc., there will be some guest anchors or judges, anybody coming. We are paying the honorarium to them. Whether that attracts GST? Yes, of course it attracts GST. Where is the relaxation given? Where exemption is given? The only thing is whether that person who is coming as a guest anchor or not, he is a taxable person or not, liable for registration or not under section 22 subsection 1. So if he is liable for registration, he is a taxable person, he will charge GST. Otherwise, he is like supplier but not making an aggregate turnover, making liable for registration. So he will not charge GST from you. It is like you go to Taj Hotel, you drink tea. You go to roadside tea stall, you drink tea. Both the cases they are selling tea only. But in Taj Hotel they will charge GST, in roadside tea stall they will not charge GST because of their taxable person status. So here also guest anchor is like already very popular, doing some good business, good turnover, registered under GST, he will charge GST from you. No sir, he is a small anchor, like just now he started the career, all that stuff, came as a guest anchor, paid the remuneration to him, then he will not charge GST from us. No, simple. So it will attract GST. Okay, so that is what the point. Now sir, another clarification is regarding this IVF treatment and all. Nowadays it is like very popular, whether that IVF treatment using this ART, that is assisted reproductive technology, so IVF is in vitro fertilization, whether that is taxable or exempt, the taxability of that. Then the department has clarified, if you go through healthcare service definition, in healthcare service definition we have clearly given diagnosis, treatment or care for illness, injury, abnormality, deformity or pregnancy. There is a word called pregnancy here, so it is very much covered within the meaning of healthcare service, and this IVF treatment is also for what? For pregnancy related issue itself. So it is covered under healthcare service and hence it is exempt under GST. Am I clear? Right, so that is the next clarification. Next one, the next one is, sir, I don't know seriously who asked this doubt and department gave a clarification for this. People are getting a doubt, sir, I am selling land, let us assume in outskirts of the village or somewhere city, we are putting up a venture, buying 100 acres of land. Now we are leveling that land, putting up the drainage lines, constructing the compound wall, laying electricity lines, all that stuff, and now selling the land. Whether it will attract GST? After doing so much of makeup, and if you sell also, it is still land only, it is immobile. This leveling, laying down the drainage lines, etc., that will be subjected to GST, but sale of land, how it will be subjected to GST? So it is clarified that sale of such developed land is also sale of land and is covered under para 5 of schedule 3. No, it will not attract GST. But sir, any other service like development of that land, like leveling, laying, drainage lines, etc., that will attract GST, sir. Seriously, who got this doubt? We should give an Oscar. Now the next clarification. So the next clarification is regarding, see, the corporate companies, etc., they will engage non-air conditioned contract carriages for transporting their employees from or to the workplace, whether that is exempt under GST under entry 15B. If you remember, entry 15B is nothing but transportation of passengers with or without accompanied belongings by non-AC contract carriage other than radio taxi to tourism, all the stuff just now we have seen conducted to that entry. See, in that entry they have spoken about transportation of passengers. Here what you are doing, you are taking the vehicles on rent, you are taking the vehicles on rent. Sir, as I have already stressed the point before in that mining area example or clarification, transportation of passengers means vehicle will not be at your disposal. It will be operated in predetermined route and schedule. That is exempt under GST. But contract carriage is taken on hire or rent, where you are free to decide the manner of usage. Completely the vehicle is at your disposal. Then it is renting the vehicles. It is not exempt. It is taxable. It is taxable. So please understand that. So you should always understand whether the transaction is renting or transportation, and then based upon that you have any exemption anywhere else, you just claim that, otherwise leave it. It is taxable. Clear? So that is what the concept. Next, private ferry tickets, the GST on that. Sir, private ferries, whether it is liable for GST or not, the doubt is because you said transportation of passengers between places located in India through public transport. Yes, transportation of passengers by public transport other than predominantly for tourism purpose in a vessel between places located in India is exempt, correct? Here the doubt is, sir, you said public transport, no sir. That means even if the private ferry operators transporting the passengers between places located in India, is it taxable or exempt? No? The answer is public transport means which is open to public. Public transport means which is open to general public. Whether it is operated by a private person or it is public owned or government owned, it doesn't matter. It is exempt under GST. So that is what the concept. Only if it is for tourism purpose, then it is taxable. Okay. So I repeat here, public transport means only meant for general public. Whether the owner is private person or public government, it doesn't matter. Okay, that is another one. Next, the last clarification is, sir, Air Force mess and various other similar type of things like Navy mess, paramilitary and police forces mess, all these people, sir, they provide services of accommodation to their staff. Is that taxable or exempt? Sir, these are nothing but central government, state government, union territory forces. So any services provided by them are nothing but to general public is exempt. Only for business entity it is taxable. If you remember, government services to business entity is taxable. To whom you are providing services here? To your own staff, to your own personnel, any person other than business entity, then that also should enjoy exemption, since it is exempt under GST. Clear? So these are the clarifications, and this is what exemptions all about. With this we are done with exemptions chapter. So the notes of this chapter, this particular soft copy will also be available below the description here. And please understand, make sure you are joining my Telegram channel for updates, all the stuff, so that you will be staying connected, right? So this is all about exemptions chapter. Fine. So let us go with the next chapter, the registration, right? So another important chapter for your exam. In this chapter we'll be seeing from section 22 to section 30. In this, without wasting much time, let us move on to the discussion. So section 22, who are the persons liable for registrations? Who are the persons liable for registration? See, when anybody is asking you for registration advice, sir, whether a person is liable for registration under GST or not, it purely depends upon in which state they are and what they are doing. So for this part, I'll just divide the entire country. For you to remember it easily, I'll divide the entire country into 3 parts. See now, one second. Right. So I'll divide the entire country into 3 parts for you. So now, see, if you take India, sir, first I will divide this entire country into special category states. Special category states. For you to remember the state names, I'll give you a code here. Make my trip to Nagaland without Mega. Okay, so the code is MMT, make my trip to Nagaland without Mega. That means here in this M and M, Meghalaya will not come. So Mizoram, Manipur, Tripura, Nagaland, these are the states. So first, special category states. I repeat, I am dividing entire country into 3 parts. Part 1 is special category states: Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Nagaland. How to remember that? Sir, make my trip to Nagaland without Mega. So that means here in case of M and M, you should not get confused. It is not Meghalaya, it is Manipur and Mizoram. Tripura, Nagaland. These 4 states, whatever you do, what you may do, you may be exclusively dealing with goods, you may be exclusively dealing with services, you may be dealing both goods and services. Whatever you do in this special category states, it is 10 lakh. The threshold limit is 10 lakhs. Okay, right. This is part 1. Next, part 2. Sir, 6 stump is the code. 6 stump is the code. 6 stump is the code. That means here, you know, cricket, we have 6 stumps. This side 3, that side 3. So 6 stumps. So 6 stump, you remember the code. That means 6 states should come. A for Arunachal Pradesh, S for Sikkim, T for Telangana, U for Uttarakhand, M for Meghalaya, P for Puducherry. If you remember our stunning ma'am code in composition scheme, in that 8 states will come. Here all the 4 are covered. Balance 4, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Uttarakhand, Meghalaya will come here. Extra 2 things added are Telangana and Puducherry. In these states, in these 6 states, whatever you do, exclusively goods, exclusively services, both goods and services, then it is 20 lakhs. So I am dividing the entire country into, sir, part 1, whatever you do, both goods and services, exclusively goods, exclusively services, it is 10 lakh is the threshold limit. No sir, it is 6 stump category. So Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Telangana, Uttarakhand, Meghalaya and Puducherry. Whatever you do here, either goods or services or both, anything, it is 20 lakhs. The threshold limit is 20 lakhs here. Clear? So that is what second part. Now balance all other states. Balance all other states we can bring under last category. In this all other states, maybe Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, all these states. Sir, if you are exclusively dealing with goods other than pan masala, tobacco, ice cream, aerated waters, all that stuff, okay, so it is 40 lakhs. Exclusively you are dealing with goods. Exclusively you are dealing with goods other than pan masala, tobacco, ice cream, bricks, all that stuff. Because in this case it is 20 lakhs only, 40 lakhs threshold limit is not applicable. So you are exclusively dealing with goods in these particular states, other states, then it is 40 lakhs other than these case. No sir, I am exclusively dealing with services or both goods and services, then it is 20 lakh, not 40 lakhs. Hope it is clear for you. The easiest way you can understand to remember the threshold limits, section 22. Okay, so in section 22 threshold limits are very important, so that is what the point, right? So here I have given some small examples, all the stuff you can just go through that, and this PDF of course will be uploaded. You can just go through that link in the video. Yes, so just go through these small questions. So in section 22 the threshold limits are very important, we have discussed that, and aggregate turnover definition we have already seen in composition scheme. Hope you remember that. Here one interesting point is, see, please understand, see, turnover of all branches with the same PAN will take as aggregate turnover. Value of exported goods, services, exempted goods, interstate supplies between the persons having the same PAN will also be taken as aggregate turnover. All these things are fine. Sir, this is important. What is important now? Whatever the supplies you are making on your own account or on behalf of your principals. So whatever the supplies you make on behalf of somebody, no, the principals, that will also be added in aggregate turnover definition. This is something interesting here. And not only that, here please understand, if one of the multiple branches is located in special category state, overall limit for everybody will be reduced to 10 lakhs. This you should remember. Okay. Now, one interesting point I'll bring to your notice. Here the examples have been given, you can take care of that. Here one interesting point I have to bring to your notice is, see, interest income. Interest income, we have seen in composition scheme, if you remember, interest by way of extending loans, advances or deposits. If that interest income has been earned by you, that will be ignored for the purpose of section 10, but that is only for the purpose of section 10. Here that you should add. So interest income will be added to aggregate turnover, will be added to aggregate turnover. Aggregate turnover. Okay, so that is the point. Now see, for example, let us assume that I am making sale of goods. If you see, intrastate supplies 5 lakhs, interstate supplies 7 lakhs. I am earning interest on fixed deposit 40,000. I made exports 1 lakh. So if you say what is my aggregate turnover, sir, the aggregate turnover you should take intrastate supply, interstate supplies, exports, exempt supplies, all that, and also the interest on fixed deposit will become your part of aggregate turnover. So 7 plus 5, 12, 12, 13, 13 lakh 40,000 will be your aggregate turnover. Hope it is clear for you. Okay, so this, if at all you are calculating this, see, this is for the purpose of section 22, my dear friends. If you ask me, sir, for the purpose of section 10, what is the aggregate turnover in this case, then the answer is just 13 lakhs. Hope it is clear for you. Okay, for section 10 purpose, if you are calculating aggregate turnover, ignore this fellow. For any other purpose, yes, that should form part of your aggregate turnover. That is one interesting point. And one more important point what we have to observe here is so there is an explanation saying that if you are dealing any person dealing with exclusively goods and also has an interest income, from loans or advances or deposits. Okay, he will be still eligible for threshold limit of, if you are exclusively dealing with goods in last part category 3 states, then eligible for threshold limit of rupees 40 lakhs in third category states. Third category states means what? Other than special category states and other than 6 system. Okay, that means, see, for example, Mr. Gajini from Tamil Nadu, what he is doing, he is selling cameras, sale of cameras, and he is making a turnover of, let us assume, 38 lakh. He got interest on fixed deposit also 40,000. Is he liable for registration? Not liable for registration, because for him threshold limit is 40 lakhs. Are you understanding the point? See, interest on fixed deposit means you are giving some service. Of course, it is exempt under GST, but there is supply of service. So you are supplying service as well as you are supplying goods. That means threshold limit will fall down normally to 20 lakhs. But if you are providing only one service, that service is nothing but interest income. You are allowing somebody to use your money, extending loans, advances, or deposits. Because of that unplanned revenue, you should not be denied from this 40 lakh threshold limit. That is the reason they are giving you this particular relaxation. I hope it is clear. Shall we proceed? Okay, so that is the concept. Fine. So with that, we are done with section 22, and section 24 says, sir, section 24 says who are compulsory liable for registration. Definitely you should obtain registration. Who should definitely obtain registration? Persons making interstate supply of goods. If you are providing interstate supply of services, sir, interstate supply of services, you can enjoy the threshold limit of enjoy the threshold limit 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs, you need not definitely take registration. But if you are dealing with goods, interstate supply, if you make even 1 rupee, definitely you should take registration. Okay, next, casual taxable person. See, for this particular fellow, that is in this first case and this second case, these two people have a relaxation, common relaxation, that is who are making interstate supply and casual taxable person. These two people have got a common relaxation. What is that relaxation? If they are dealing with notified handicraft goods, okay, they are exempt from registration and they can enjoy the threshold limit of 10 lakh or 20 lakh, as the case may be, in whichever state they are, provided they are obtaining a PAN card and generating the e-way bill. Okay, so that means even though you are making interstate supplies, even though you are a casual taxable person, you are definitely liable for registration. But if you are dealing with notified handicraft goods, sir, you can make interstate supplies, still enjoy the threshold limit of 10 lakh, 20 lakh without taking registration, but obtain a PAN card and generate e-way bill. That is the concept. Okay, fine. Next, any person who is paying tax under reverse charge mechanism should definitely take. Yes, when you are liable to pay GST under reverse charge mechanism, how do you pay without registration? Yes, take registration and pay GST under RCM. Next, persons required to pay tax under section 9 subsection 5, there is the e-commerce operator, should take definitely registration. Non-resident taxable person, every e-commerce operator who is required to collect tax at source under section 52, sir, to follow TCS provisions, yes, to follow TDS provisions. For me, TDS TCS provisions are applicable. Hope you remember TDS TCS chapter. Sir, for us, TDS TCS provisions are applicable. To follow the TDS TCS provisions, section 51, 52, yes, we should get registered under GST. There is no other option. We are not doing any business, still we should get registered if we are supposed to follow section 51 and 52. Okay, next. So this is given twice, actually, persons who are required to deduct tax under section 51. So fine. So that is the point. 1 second. Right. So now here, actually in your book you will be having it correct. So I am using a different soft copy. So here, any person making supplies on behalf of other taxable person, that means what, sir? If your principal is a taxable person, agent should definitely register. Agent shall register. Are you understanding the point? If you are acting as an agent of a person who is registered or liable for registration, taxable person, then you should also definitely register. Okay, in your books it will be correct only, don't worry. Next, input service distributor, CA final related concept, nothing to worry. So you can see it later. Next, we'll see in CA final. Next, person who makes the supply through e-commerce operator who are required to collect tax at source under section 52, but there is a relaxation here. So we'll discuss about this later. Okay. Next, supplier of OADR services from a place outside India to unregistered person in India, CA final concept, and other notified persons. So this point alone is left out. See, section 24 says who are definitely liable for GST registration, interstate supply of goods, casual taxable person, but both of them enjoys a relaxation. Persons who are liable to pay tax under RCM and e-commerce operator covered under 9 subsection 5. Next, non-resident taxable person, 51, 52, who are supposed to follow that, and any agent of a taxable person, and input service distributor, and anybody making supplies through e-commerce operator. Further, there is a relaxation recently now, so that is important for you. Next, supplier of OADR services and other notified persons. Okay, fine. So this input service distributor and OADR services are CA final syllabus, so you need not worry. Now, coming to the next one. The persons who are not liable for registration, who need not take registration as per section 23. Sir, any person who is making only supply of non-taxable goods, sir, only non-taxable goods or non-taxable services, sir, then they are not required to register under GST or wholly exempt under GST, sir. Anybody who is dealing with wholly non-taxable supplies or wholly exempt supplies, simple, non-taxable or exempt. So wholly non-taxable or exempt, no need to take GST registration. Next, sir, an agriculturist. Here agriculturist means only individual who is producing, who is supplying the things which are produced out of cultivation of land, and here individual and HUF only covered, not agriculture companies. Okay, person who are engaged in making exclusively RCM supplies. That means supplier of RCM services. Here, if you see, we have understood recipient of RCM supplies. Here we are talking about supplier. When recipient is liable to pay GST under RCM, why supplier has to take registration? Supplier of RCM supplies. Okay, no need to take GST registration. Persons making interstate outward supplies whose aggregate turnover on all India basis does not exceed 20 lakhs. So this is for services. We have already discussed. If you are making interstate supply of services, you can still enjoy the threshold limit relaxation. Yes, you need not take registration. And this is for CTPs and normal people dealing with notified handicraft goods. Yes, please understand here, handicraft goods means which are goods which are predominantly made by hand. That means at least 50% by hand and 49% can be used by machinery, made by machinery. So that way, notified handicraft goods. Examples also we have given here: leather articles, carved wood products, wood turnings, and like bamboo products, textiles, hand printing, theater costumes, musical instruments, dolls and toys, all that stuff, whatever it is. Okay, now sir, this is important for you. If you see, if you are making supply of goods or services through an e-commerce operator other than specified other than the supply specified under section 9 subsection 5 with aggregate turnover up to the threshold limits 20 or 10 lakhs. See, now please understand, sir, you are making supplies through e-commerce operator. You are making supplies through e-commerce operator, goods and services possible, correct? If goods, now you can enjoy the relaxation of 10 or 20 lakhs by following a procedure. Earlier services also they are enjoying the relaxation. So for services, from long time they are providing services through e-commerce operator, they are enjoying the threshold limit 10 or 20 lakhs. There is no problem. But for goods, they have to follow the procedure. What is the procedure? So they have to apply for an enrollment ID, go to GST website, give your PAN, give your place of business, and please make sure. See, here it is given. Sir, what you have to do? You should make sure you are not making any interstate supplies, and you should not make supplies in more than one state or union territory. I repeat, if you are supplying goods through e-commerce operator, please understand, you can supply that without taking registration, enjoy the threshold limit of 10-20 lakhs, but follow a procedure. The procedure is, you should not make any interstate supply of goods, and you should not supply goods in more than one state or union territory, and you have to take a PAN and declare that PAN in the common portal, that is gst.gov.in, with your PAN and your address of the place of business and the state in which you are going to supply. So if I want to supply in Tamil Nadu, only Tamil Nadu, or only Karnataka, only one enrollment number you will get. Okay, you will not be granted more than one enrollment number. Each state you cannot take one enrollment number and go for making the supplies. Only one enrollment number, so make only supplies in one state. So they are prohibiting you from making interstate supplier because you don't have registration, correct? But still, if you want to sell through e-commerce operator, follow this procedure. And no goods shall be made without grant of enrollment number. No supply should be made. And once you take registration, tomorrow in future you become liable for registration and take registration, then that enrollment number will automatically ceases to be valid because registration certificate you have already received. So that registration will be valid. Subsequently, the registration is granted. Okay, so that is the case. Fine. So there is a procedure to follow for persons who are making supply of goods through e-commerce operator. That is the latest provision for you. Okay. Next. So there is section 24. Next, there is procedure for registration. If you see section 25, 26, 27. So in procedure for registration, it is simple. Procedure for registration says, sir, what is the time limit to apply for registration? Time limit to apply for registration is, if you are a casual taxable person or a non-resident taxable person, you should apply at least 5 days prior to the commencement of business. No, sir, I am any person other than that casual taxable person or non-resident taxable person who is liable under section 22 or section 24, or I am going for voluntary registration, sir. Then within 30 days, sorry, not voluntary registration, I'm sorry, extremely sorry, I am a person liable for registration under section 22 or 24, or every person who makes a supply from the territorial waters of India. Sir, from the territorial waters, if you are making supplies, yes, you have to take registration. So in that case, within 30 days of date of becoming liable, you should register, apply for registration. And That is the procedure. That is the procedure. So here within 30 days, here at least 5 days prior to the commencement of business. Okay. Sir, if I am supplying from territorial waters of India, which state I should apply for registration? Sir, the state which is closest to you, to the baseline, that will be the place. And PAN is mandatory for the resident taxable persons for granting the registration. For NRTPs, other prescribed documents. Yes, we will see that in CTP and RTP, separate registration procedure. And for those whom the registration is under section 51, if they are obtaining for the purpose of complying section 51 provisions, they can use the TAN issued to them under Income Tax Act instead of using the PAN. Okay, that is number one. Another one. So now this is important for you. This is the amendment actually for your exam. So actually what happened now, sir, rule 8 sub rule 1 has been amended to exclude a person supplying online money gaming from a place outside India to a person in India from declaring their PAN, state, union territory for applying registration. Simple. Let us assume these people are providing Rummy Circle game from outside India. So they are providing what? Online money gaming from a place outside India. If they are providing to person in India, then they should, these people who are, see, understand, who are doing online money gaming from outside India to India, they should take registration under GST and they should pay GST. No reverse charge mechanism here. Okay, so for that they should take registration. For applying registration, they need not disclose their PAN or state or union territory because they are not from India, Nora. Let us excuse them. So that is what the concept. Okay, next, coming to the next one, state-wise registration. If you see, you know, obviously, sir, from each and every state where you are making the supplies, yes, if you are becoming liable for registration, you have to obtain registration in each and every state. So separate registration should be possible. Okay. And here one interesting thing is, sir, if you have business entity and having branches in different states, separate registration for each branch is required, but you have business entity having branches in same state. Here, for you in book it should be correct. Here, if you are having business entity and having different branches in same state, I think in your book it should be correct only. Yes, in same state, single registration is sufficient. Single registration is sufficient. If you want to take multiple registrations also, you can take. This I have already taught you during distinct persons concept. So we have discussed all these things. Okay, so same concept. So state-wise registration, because there is no centralized registration in GST. Okay, and if you are operating, let us assume from Tamil Nadu, you are operating from Chennai as well as Coimbatore. One place you declare as principal place of business, another place you declare as additional place of business. No, sir, I will go for different registrations for Chennai and Coimbatore. Happily take different registrations. Nobody is stopping you. Multiple states, you should take multiple registrations, but in the same state with one registration you can proceed. If you want multiple registration, that is up to you. It is optional. Hope you remember. Shall we continue? But here, taxpayer having multiple places of business in one state, if he is taking separate registration, as I told, it is optional and they will be treated as distinct persons. Okay. Now, while making separate registration, these conditions to be followed. All such registered places can make supplies to each other, but they should charge GST on that, issue a tax invoice and separate application to be filed for registration for each such separate place. Normal things, just you can proceed and go through these examples. And registration under composition scheme. Here there should be the composition scheme. Now please understand, generally if you remember in composition scheme we have discussed, sir, if you have multiple registrations, what we have to do? Sir, all the registration should go for composition scheme or all the registration should go for normal scheme. One registration going for normal scheme, one registration going for composition scheme, that is not possible. So that is what the points here. Okay, so can't opt for composition levy for other place of business if one registered place of business is paying tax under normal levy, or if any one of the separately registered place becomes ineligible to pay tax under composition levy also, all other registered units becomes ineligible. So that is the next point. And here this is important thing for you. Here the point is, sir, persons having one unit in SEZ, another unit in outside SEZ, then they have to apply separate registrations for each of the 2 units as separate place of business. So taking 2 registrations is mandatory for them. That means, see, understand, in Tamil Nadu I am located in Chennai, having 1 unit outside an SEZ and 1 unit inside an SEZ, but both are in Chennai, both are in Tamil Nadu, same state. Still I should definitely take 2 different registrations. Hope it is clear. If you have in the same state 1 unit in SEZ, 1 unit outside SEZ, definitely you should take GST registration. Okay, so that is the point. Sir, I am not liable for registration under section 22 or 24, sir. Can I go for voluntary registration? Yes, happily you can take voluntary registration. Nobody is stopping you. And distinct persons already discussed in supply chapter. Okay, 25 subsection 4 and 25 subsection 5. Next, what is this unique identity number? The unique identity number is nothing but, please understand, any specialized agencies of UNOs or any multilateral financial institutions and organizations as notified by United Nations, any consulates or embassies or foreign countries, or any other notified persons. See, these are foreign diplomats. Whatever the services they are providing are exempt under GST, so they need not take GST registration. But what we are doing now, sir, this is not about their outward supplies. We are talking about their purchases. We want to give refund on the notified purchases they make. Okay, refund of the GST paid on notified purchases. Okay, so for obtaining the refund of taxes paid on inward supply of notified goods or services, sir, we are asking them, you please go and take one number called unique identification number from the GST department, unique identity number from the GST department. So I repeat, this number is purely for what? Sir, these foreign embassies, etc., are buying something. Whatever the services these people are providing, that is exempt under GST, so no need to take GST registration. But whatever they are buying, on that they are paying GST, no. So that GST on notified purchases, we want to give refund to them. For giving refund, actually they should have some communication with the department, right? So for that purpose, what we are asking now, we are asking, hey, go and get unique identity number. If you want that unique identity number, you make an application in the prescribed form, or we people, that is Ministry of External Affairs, MIA, will recommend to the GST department, they will give the UIN. So either on the recommendations given by MIA, that is Ministry of External Affairs, or you people making the application, you will get unique identity number. So unique identity number is not a registration. Please understand that. That is merely for applying refund of GST paid on inward supplies which are notified by the government. Okay, so that is what the point. Fine. So let us move on to the next one. What is the next one? Suo motu registration by officer. What is the suo motu registration by officer? Now please understand, when the proper officer has the reasons to believe that you are liable for registration but you have not registered, when he has understood this he might have understood during any survey, inquiry, inspection, search, or any other proceedings. Now he will grant you temporary registration. See, you are liable for registration but you have not taken registration, so take this temporary registration. Like that, they will grant temporary registration. What is the option you are having now? Option 1 is, within 90 days of getting the grant of temporary registration, you should submit all the relevant documents and get the registration done. Or if you want to go for an appeal, file an appeal against the temporary registration, and if the appellate authority upholds, that means supports the decision taken by the department, in such case you don't have any other choice. Within 30 days from the date of issuance of order by the appellate authority, you should apply for the registration, submit all the relevant documents and get your final registration done. Okay, so that is what the point. I repeat, suo motu registration, proper officer feels that you are liable for registration but not taken the registration. So what you should do? Once the registration is granted, temporary registration, within 90 days make an application, submit all the relevant documents and get the registration done. Or if you feel no, this is not correct order, go for an appeal. Okay, go for an appeal. And in the appeal also, if the department gives order in favor of the department officer itself, the appellate authority gives the order in favor of department itself, then please submit the balance documents whatever are required within 30 days from the date of order by the appellate authority. Okay, that is with respect to second option. Fine. Next, procedure for registration. See, procedure for registration, if you see, the procedure for registration is given below and we will discuss that registration. And once you are registered, so that means, understand, for the purpose of paying CGST, SGST, UTGST or IGST, whatever it is or says, you need not take separate registrations. Once you are registered under one particular act, you are deemed to be registered under all other acts, so no need to take different registrations for different taxes. Okay. So grant of registration or UIN under CGST Act or UTGST Act shall be deemed to be registration or UIN granted under CGST Act also. Okay, if it is rejection, then also it is deemed to be registered under CGST Act, right? Sir, what is the effective date of registration, sir? From when you can say me that I am effectively registered? I am effectively registered. Right? You are said to be effectively registered. You are said to be effectively registered if you make the application within 30 days from the date of liable for registration. The date you became liable itself will be effectively registered. See now, for example, 1st November you became liable and you are making an application. If you make application on 12th November and you get the registration certificate on 5th December. Okay, the effective date of registration is what? See, 1st November you became liable and you are applying for registration within 30 days. So the effective date of registration is 1st November, the date of becoming liable for registration. No sir, I am applying for registration on 10th December. I am getting registration certificate on 12th December. Then the date of grant of registration certificate will be the effective date of registration. So if you apply for registration within 30 days from the date of becoming liable for registration, the date of becoming liable for registration will be your effective date. No sir, if you apply later on, then date of grant of registration certificate will be the effective date of registration. From that date effectively you are said to be registered. Okay, so that is the point. Now, so here there are certain points like it will be 15-digit GSTIN code, all the stuff, you can just go through that. So the registration procedure, if you see, this is the registration procedure we are discussing. So now I'll tell you how the registration procedure will work. See guys, now I'll tell you the registration procedure, how it happens. See, the registration procedure. See, first the registration application is divided into two parts, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is nothing but whoever is applying, from that fellow's point of view we are discussing what he has to do. Again, that is divided into two parts, part A and part B. Okay, and then later on from the proper officer end what will happen, that is part 2. Now coming to the point, first of all, what you have to do, sir, when you are liable for registration, you go to the GST portal and first you select the PAN, you give PAN details and you give your mobile number, mail ID, the state, all the details you have to select, everything. And now the PAN details whatever you have given, that will be auto validated from CBDT database, what the GST website, the common portal is having. From the CBDT database it will auto validate. That means your name and PAN card should match and then it will get auto validated. If any mistakes are there, the system will show you a error message. The mobile number and mail ID whatever you have given here, mobile number and mail ID, so for that they will send the OTPs and then you will get the OTPs to mobile and mail ID. That OTPs if you enter, that will be verified. So mobile number and mail ID also will be verified. Here one interesting point is OTP will be sent to the mobile number which is linked to the PAN, So those OTPs if you enter, your mobile number, mail ID is verified and of course PAN is also verified. Now the moment it is done, a temporary reference number will be generated. Using the temporary reference number, you will go into the next stage, part B. In part B, you should give the details of the business. What type of business this is? This is sole proprietor or partnership, all that. And you should give the details of the person who is going to carry out the business. His ID proof, all that stuff. Okay, first name, middle name, last name, like that. You should give his details. And fine, next one, you should give the details of principal place of business. If any additional place of business details also should be given. The goods and services, top 5 goods, top 5 services, what you are going to deal in your business, those details should be given. Okay, after giving all these things and fill the application form, you will get an acknowledgement number. Okay, now here the interesting part is, sir, when you are filling this application, there will be an option for Aadhaar authentication. What is this Aadhaar authentication? So once you fill the application and you submit the part B, and when you are applying for the GST registration, you have selected for Aadhaar authentication. So what will happen now, once application is submitted, so you will get to your mail ID an Aadhaar authentication link. That Aadhaar authentication link, if you click, it will take you to a different browser, and the browser will open the window, and in that they will ask your Aadhaar number to be entered, and you enter your Aadhaar number and it will show the details of you, the person, and the Aadhaar number will be linked to a mobile, correct? Mobile number. For that mobile number, they will send an OTP. If you enter that OTP there, that means Aadhaar authentication will be successful. But sir, there are certain cases where Aadhaar authentication can fail due to various reasons. Maybe the name mismatch in PAN card, Aadhaar card, or the mobile number is not linked to Aadhaar card, all that stuff. That means please understand, first linking the mobile number and Aadhaar card is a primary requirement when you are taking GST registration. And also please check the name in Aadhaar and PAN card are matching also, and PAN and Aadhaar are also linked. So there are chances. I am just giving you a situation where Aadhaar authentication may also fail. So if Aadhaar authentication is successful, then sir, Aadhaar authentication is successful, what proper officer will do? Proper officer will grant you registration certificate within 7 working days if all the details are sufficient, proper. If any discrepancies he has found out, then what he will do? He will ask you to submit the clarifications within 7 working days. That means if Aadhaar authentication is successful, one advantage for us is, sir, within 7 working days, you will get the reply from the proper officer. Proper officer will say either yes, all the details are fine, sufficient, grant the registration certificate, or proper officer will say, sir, these are the details which I need, so please give me the clarifications. Like that, he may send you show cause notice. So 7 working days you will get the reply from proper officer. Now after getting the reply from the proper officer that is asking you any clarification, you should respond within 7 working days. Applicant should furnish the reply, the clarification within 7 working days. If officer is satisfied, he will grant you the registration certificate within 7 working days. If he is not satisfied, he will reject the application giving the reasons. But anything he will respond in 7 working days. That means 7 working days he will process the application. If he is asking for any clarification within 7 working days, you will give the reply. And once you gave the reply within 7 working days, the proper officer will process the reply also. Okay. So first time when you are applying, that time itself if he is satisfied, he will grant you registration certificate or ask for clarification. So you are giving clarification. So within 7 working days he will see, okay, if he is satisfied, he will grant you registration certificate, otherwise he will reject. If proper officer is not doing his duty within the time limit, your application is deemed to be accepted. If you are not doing your duty within the time limit given to you, your application is deemed to be rejected. Okay, so that is what the concept. Now here I told you how Aadhaar authentication is done and all that stuff. So one only drawback here is, sir, if you are going through Aadhaar authentication, when you are applying for registration and when you are going through Aadhaar authentication, all that stuff, sir, by any chance if you fail to undergo Aadhaar authentication, or while applying for registration itself, you have not opted for Aadhaar authentication, or sir, if proper officer wants to carry out site verification, proper officer wants to carry out the site verification of you, or system through the data analysis and risk parameters, the system has identified, the common portal has identified your application to be like physically verified. Biometric Aadhaar authentication should be done like that if the system has identified. That means 4 cases I taught you. So one is Aadhaar authentication failed, or you have not opted for Aadhaar authentication, or proper officer wants to carry out the site verification, or the common portal has identified your application for site verification. In these cases, the starting step, it was there, no, here the starting step, this is not 7 working days, this will become 30 days, because in all these 4 cases the department will carry out the physical verification of your premises and will submit the report to the higher officials, and that person will process your application. So that is what all about. So I told you how Aadhaar authentication is done also, that is clearly mentioned here. How it is done I explained you. And who should get the Aadhaar authentication done? Sir, Aadhaar authentication should be done by the individual, sir. If he is the for him, if at all applicant is individual, for himself itself we will do. Here AAM is not Allu Arjun Aadhaar authentication. Okay, so if it is others, not individual means for himself itself we will do Aadhaar authentication. For others like HUF Karta, for company managing director or full-time director, for partnership firm partner, AOP or BOI or society, the members, trust, the board of trustees, those people Aadhaar authentication should be carried out. Okay, so as I told you, sir, any person fails to undergo Aadhaar authentication or not opted for Aadhaar authentication, or proper officer wants to carry out site verification, or any person who has opted for Aadhaar authentication but system, the common portal has identified it to carry out biometric based Aadhaar authentication, in that case it shall be done. Okay, so in that case the physical verification will be done by the proper officer of the premises, but for that the physical presence of the applicant need not be there. That is another amendment here. Yeah, this is the amendment here. So for doing that physical verification of the premises, that can be done even without the physical presence of the applicant or registered person. That means if you are applying for the first time, then they are asking for physical verification. Okay, no problem. Without your presence also they can do. After registration also they can do the physical verification, all the stuff during this Aadhaar authentication. Yes, because Aadhaar authentication was later on introduced in the law, not from the beginning. So some people got GST registration even without Aadhaar authentication. Now when they are undergoing Aadhaar authentication, so without the presence, physical presence of that applicant or registered person, yes, you can, proper officer can carry out the site verification and submit the report and close the physical verification. Okay. So as I told earlier, physical verification has to be done only in the presence of the applicant, but now that point is not there. Hope it is clear for you. Next. So remaining things are date of processing the application, all the stuff you can just manage. So if the application, as I told you, Aadhaar authentication is successful now within 7 working days from the date of submission of application. As special cases mentioned above, the 4 cases I told you, 30 days from the date of submission of application. What do you mean by date of submission of application, sir? That means date of Aadhaar authentication or 15 days from the date of submission of part B of GST REG 01, whichever is earlier. That means they will wait for 15 days for you to do Aadhaar authentication. Not done. From that they will start calculating 30 days. That means technically speaking 48 days. If it is not good, you will be waiting for 45 days for the reply of the proper officer. Okay. So that is the point. So I repeat, date of submission of application means either date of Aadhaar authentication or 15 days from the date of submission of application, whichever is earlier. So sir, today I have submitted the application, today only Aadhaar authentication successful. That means submission of application is over. Then the processing will start. This processing will start. Hope it is clear for you. Okay. Next, Aadhaar authentication for registered person. See, understand, if your Aadhaar authentication is not done, the registered person has to undergo Aadhaar authentication. If he is not doing, this is important for you, if he is not undergoing for Aadhaar authentication, so what is the consequence? The consequence is, tomorrow if his registration is cancelled, he cannot apply for revocation of cancellation. Tomorrow if his registration is cancelled, he cannot apply for revocation of cancellation if Aadhaar authentication is not done. Next, sir, he cannot file refund application. He cannot file refund application under GST if Aadhaar authentication is not done. Next, yes, another refund here, rule 89, rule 96. These are CA final syllabus. So for you, just remember, refund applications cannot be processed. You cannot file a refund application if your Aadhaar authentication has not been done. Okay. So if you are already registered under GST, not done Aadhaar authentication, because while you are applying for GST registration, Aadhaar authentication concept itself was not there. In such cases, what you have to do now? You should do Aadhaar authentication. Sir, I don't have Aadhaar number itself, sir. Then first apply for Aadhaar number. Okay, Aadhaar number has not been assigned now. Apply for Aadhaar number, and that enrollment ID you have to take, enrollment ID slip, and along with that the bank passbook with photograph or voter ID card or passport or driving license. These things what you have to do, these things you have to upload, and you should get the Aadhaar authentication done within 30 days from the date of Aadhaar allotment to you. Okay, so initially give these details, enrollment ID slip, all the stuff and the proof, and then later on Aadhaar number will be allotted now within 30 days. You please make sure you are doing Aadhaar authentication. Okay, so here one more interesting point is, sir, when you are applying for GST registration, generally you should give your bank details. Earlier that was mandatory, later on the law has liberalized you people giving your bank account details. So now when you get GST registration, later on also you can give your bank account details, update your bank account details in the GST portal. But the important thing is, please understand, the important thing is you should do that within 30 days from the grant of registration, or at least before filing your GSTR1 or IFF, whichever is earlier. Am I clear? Within 30 days from the grant of registration certificate, or within before filing GSTR1. Here 30 days limit is not there, right? Please don't misunderstand. Not within 30 days from GSTR1. No. Within 30 days from the grant of registration certificate, or before filing GSTR1 or IFF, whichever is earlier. Before that, you should update your bank account details in GST portal. Otherwise, your registration shall be suspended. Once the registration is suspended, and then later on, if you give your bank account details, then only the suspension will be revoked. But if before you giving bank account details or updating your bank account details, if the registration is cancelled, what you will do? Right, again you should apply for revocation, all that nonsense will happen. Okay, so the point is, sir, bank account details, if you are not updating as per the time limit given here, so this is also like earlier 45 days, now they made it 30 days. This is also a recent amendment only. If you are not doing that, your registration shall be suspended and then it will be cancelled. No sir, before cancellation itself I am updating my bank account details now, then automatically suspension will be revoked, nothing to worry. Okay, that is what rule 10A. Exemption from Aadhaar card, Aadhaar authentication, the market important. So who and all are not required to go for Aadhaar authentication? A person who is not a citizen of India, government departments, all that stuff. Person here, person not a citizen of India. There is some small correction here. Yes, here it is local authority. Ra. In your books it is correct only. Ra. Don't worry. Here in my soft copy, I did not take the corrected soft copy. Okay, fine. So local authority. So local authority, no need for GST, Aadhaar authentication, statutory bodies, public sector undertakings, or any person who is applying for UIN. These people need not go for Aadhaar authentication. Important, please remember, can be tested as an MCQ question. So the next one is the registration procedure for NRTP and CTP. If you see, we have already discussed the meaning of non-resident taxable person and casual taxable person in ITC. So here simple, casual taxable person is who doesn't have fixed place of business from the state where he is making the supply. Non-resident taxable person is who does not have fixed place of business or residence anywhere in India. That is CTP and NRTP. Okay, that is the main thing. Now for them, if you see, sir, what is the registration procedure? For them, you know, we have already understood that, sir, they should apply for registration at least 5 days prior to the commencement of the business. For others, they can start the business, become liable for registration, then within 30 days they have to apply. But for these people, they cannot start the business without applying for registration. So at least 5 days prior to the commencement of the business, they should apply for registration. Okay, that is the next point. Now, so sir, NRTPs, CTPs will have PAN at least. Okay, fine sir. NRTPs will not have PAN in India, sir. So they will be granted registration based on the prescribed documents. What is that prescribed document? Na? Self-attested copy of a valid passport along with the application signed by authorized signatory who is Indian resident having PAN. That means for NRTP, if they have to take GST registration, they need the help of an authorized signatory who is an Indian resident and having PAN. That is important. Please understand. Okay. So that is the case. Suppose if the NRTP is not an individual, it is a business entity incorporated outside India, then also the registration application shall be submitted along with the unique number, not a self-attested valid passport, because company will not have a passport. So they should give the unique number through which the entity is identified by the government, foreign government, or if they have applied for PAN in India, that PAN itself is also fine, no problem. Okay, so if non-resident taxable person is applying for registration, individual and self-attested copy of valid passport and along with that authorized signatory having valid PAN. And if it is business entity also should have an authorized person having valid PAN, Indian resident, all that. So, but if it is a business entity, instead of self-attested copy of valid passport, then they can go for their unique number through which, that means for example in India, if we register, we will get this SIN or a corporate identity number. So the same way in foreign country, what is the identification they are getting, that certificate they have to submit. If at all they are having Indian PAN, through that Indian PAN itself they can proceed. Okay, so that is what the point. Now here one interesting thing is, sir, for CTPs and NRTPs, the different point what we have to see is when they are applying for registration, understand, for these people the registration validity itself granted is 90 days maximum. If you are asking for 10 days, you will get 10 days. If you are asking for 100 days, you will get 90 days. That means how many days you have asked, or 90 days. That means the period which is specified in the application, or 90 days, whichever is earlier, or we can say whichever is less. That means maximum 90 days. Now, sir, you have taken GST registration as a casual taxable person. There is some exhibition happening in Gujarat, a textile exhibition. I am going and doing business there. I have taken registration for 7 days. Okay. Now the exhibition is getting extended. I can ask for 7 days or I can ask for 90 days. I have asked for 7 days, so 7 days they have granted registration. Sir, if at all I am asking for extension, sir, please extend this, sir, 7 days is not sufficient, sir. Then it can be extended for another period of maximum 90 days. That means 90 plus 90. This is what maximum you will get. That means total 180 days, sir. But you cannot say, sir, first I have asked for 7 days. No, sir. This time I will ask for 120 days, 140 days. Is it available? That will not be available. You can ask 2 times. First apply for registration, and before expiry ask for extension. Applying for registration also 90 days only maximum. Asking for extension also maximum 90 days only. 90 plus 90. That is what the scenario. Okay. Hope it is clear for you. Right now, sir, when you take this, sir, if any long run exhibitions are happening, sir, can I ask extension one more time? Can I ask extension one more time? No, that is not possible. Extension is not possible. Are you understanding? Only one time extension is possible. So, sir, if any long run exhibitions are happening which goes beyond 180 days, what should I do? You take registration as a normal taxpayer, or registration as a normal taxpayer, and then once you are registered, like business is over there, you are coming back, cancel the registration, come back, simple. Okay, so that is what the concept. So validity, coming to validity, first difference, validity is 90 plus 90. 90 days maximum I will give you registration. Later on, if you ask me extension also before expiry, I will give you valid extension, but not more than 90 days. Okay, so 90 plus 90 is the maximum limit. Now here the interesting point is, sir, generally when we are applying for GST registration, there is no such thing like a tax payment, all that stuff. First we do business, then we file the returns, then we will pay the tax. But if you are a CTP or NRTP, what we should do now? Sir, when you are a CTP or NRTP, when you are asking for registration for 90 days plus 90 days, whatever it is, first you should estimate your tax liability. For example, I will go to the exhibition, do business for 7 days. For that 7 days, what will be your GST liability? That you should estimate before and pay that after getting the TRN number. You should deposit the tax, then only your application will be processed. And once your application is accepted and you get registered, that amount whatever you have deposited as advance tax, that will come and reflect in your e-cash ledger. Clear? You can use it for tax payments. Sir, of course there can be any differences, sir. Exactly we will estimate and we will pay the deposit, we will deposit the amount. No, there may be any shortfall. I have deposited 10,000, liability is 12,000. Pay that extra liability 2,000. Sir, I have deposited 10,000, the liability is only 7,000. That 3,000 will be refunded to you, don't worry. So you should deposit the tax in advance, okay, by estimating the liability, everything, after considering even the ITC available for you, all that stuff. So on the net liability, you should, if you are depositing sufficient, not on the gross liability. See the kind heart of the government, you should understand here. Okay, next. So if you are asking for extension, then you should deposit the additional amount of tax estimated for the period for which you are asking for extension. That is also there. Okay, so that is what with respect to CTP NRTP registration procedure. Special provision for grant of registration for people who are supposed to take registration because of section 51, 52 are TDS and TCS. So for them, when they are applying for registration, yes sir, they can apply for registration, and when they have submitted the application, within 3 working days from the date of submission, they'll get their registration certificate. Okay, so that is what the point. Next, suppose if the proper officer feels that the person to whom we have granted the certificate for the purpose of section 51 or 52 no more liable to deduct TDS or no more liable to collect TCS under section 51, 52, then the proper officer may cancel the registration also. Okay, that is the next one. And if you see amendment of registration also similar to registration procedure. Here amendment, there are 2 things. One is core field area, non-core field area. Core field areas, like if you see legal name of the business, address of the principal place of business or additional place of business, change in partners or directors or key managerial personnel, then you should apply for the amendment within 15 working days of the amendment, and the proper officer will process that, all that stuff. So you should apply within 15 days. Actually, you should apply within 15 days. Then proper officer will process it within 15 working days. So he will either grant you amended registration certificate, or he will give you show cause notice asking for clarifications. Once he is asking for clarifications, you should respond within 7 working days, and once you have given your response within 7 working days, proper officer also will process the application clarification within 15 working days. So the same, similar to that. So I repeat, if it is core field amendment, within 15 days of change, whatever the change has happened, please apply for amendment. Proper officer will process that within 15 working days. If everything is fine, we'll give you the amended registration certificate. No sir, if it is not fine, he will ask you for clarifications. You are giving the clarifications within 7 working days, super, and they are satisfactory also, you will get the amended registration certificate. No, you are not responding to the notice within the 7 working days, or proper officer is not satisfied with your reply. In that case, your application is deemed to be rejected. Okay. Sorry, here, yes, this is 7 working days. You give the clarification within 7 working days. Proper officer also should process that within 7 working days. Okay. If you are not, if the proper officer is not processing the application within 15 working days, you know, if they are not doing their duty within the time limit given to them, then the application is deemed to be accepted. If you are not responding within the time limit given to you, then the application is deemed to be rejected. Okay. Okay, so there is the point next. So with that we have seen the amendment also, and the last one, very important one, the cancellation of registration. Okay, so coming to cancellation of registration, you know, cancellation of registration is of two types: voluntary cancellation by whom? Voluntary cancellation by the person who has registered, or suo motu cancellation by whom? By the proper officer, he can cancel on his own. So voluntary cancellation by the registered person, or suo motu cancellation by the proper officer. So these are the two things. Okay, sir, in what circumstances they will cancel, sir? Circumstances for cancellation of registration, sir, these are the common reasons. Here what happens now, this is both reasons for both voluntary cancellation also and suo motu cancellation also. Okay, these are the reasons: discontinuation of the business, transfer of business, death of the proprietor, amalgamation, demerger, change in constitution of the business. Change in constitution of the business means what? Change in constitution of the business means sole proprietor to partnership firm to company, like that you are converting. Then there is change in constitution of the business, then that is the case. Or you are a taxable person other than voluntarily registered and no longer liable for registration under section 22, 24. Sir, earlier section 22 or 24 was saying me like I am liable for registration. Now the sections got amended. I am no longer liable for registration. Then also in that case, proper officer will not cancel, you only should ask. Okay. Now, sir, these are the important points. These are reasons for suo motu cancellation. Suo motu cancellation by proper officer. You tell me why proper officer will cancel your registration? Because you did some nonsense. That means you have violated the law. Here if you see, the conditions are, the reasons can be: you are not conducting the business from the declared place of business, or you are issuing invoice or bill without supply of goods or services. That means fake invoices. You are violating the provisions relating to anti-profiteering measure. You are violating the provisions of Rule 10A. Do you remember Rule 10A? Rule 10A, bank details, bank account details, you are not updating. You are availing ITC in contravention with section 16. Okay, to be more specific, section 16 subsection 2. You are furnishing outward supplies in GSTR1 in excess than GSTR3B. That means in GSTR1 you are giving more sales than in 3B. 1 you give 100 lakhs, 3B you give 10 lakhs and pay GST. That means you are paying lesser amount only, Nora. So in 1 you are showing more sales, 3B you are showing less sales. Or you are violating the provisions of Rule 86B. Rule 86B, you remember? What is Rule 86B? At least 1% you should discharge your tax liability in cash if your turnover, taxable turnover in the month exceeds 50 lakhs. The registered person has filed return under section 39 subsection for each month or part thereof, has not furnished, okay. The person who is required to file return under section 39 subsection 1, what is that? GSTR 3B norma section 39. So for each month or part thereof has not furnished the returns continuously for 6 months. That means 3B you have not filed for 6 months, simple. Or sir, you are required to file that quarterly, now you have not filed it for continuously for 2 quarters. If you are supposed to file monthly, sir, this is monthly filer. This is, you are under QRMP filer, quarterly return and monthly payment. Okay. In that case, continuously for 2 tax periods you have not filed your GSTR 3B. Are you understanding the point? Then your registration can be cancelled. Suo motu cancellation by proper officer. Next, you are under composition scheme. Okay, but you have not filed the return for the financial year beyond 3 months from the due date of filing such return. Your due date is over, and after due date is over, what is the due date for filing GSTR 4? Composition dealer, GSTR 4 due date. Comment in the chat box, comment. Okay, those who are watching in YouTube also, please give the comment what is the due date for GSTR 4, let me know. So the due date is over, and after due date is over 3 months, not filed the GSTR 4, then they can cancel your GST registration. Next, sir, you have applied for voluntary registration but not started business even after 6 months. Then why you want registration? Cancel that. Okay, or when the registration is obtained by means of fraud, willful misstatement, or suppression of facts, then your registration can be cancelled by the proper officer. Okay, so when your registration is cancelled by the proper officer, first your registration shall be suspended, and then the moment your registration is suspended, one second, here the remaining, this procedure is just for one time reading, not that greatly relevant, don't worry. Coming to suspension of registration, sir, first they will suspend your registration, and once your registration is suspended, the cancellation proceedings will keep on going. So once you meet the proper officer, give the reasons, all that stuff, so now they have decided, yes, registration should be cancelled, registration will be cancelled. What is the use of suspension? Suspension is not required, so suspension is automatically revoked. Or the outcome is, yes, your registration should not be cancelled, then also suspension will be revoked. So suspension shall be revoked only after the conclusion of cancellation proceedings, So now, after the conclusion of cancellation proceedings, suspension shall be revoked. But the interesting thing is, if the proper officer has the reasons to believe, one second, if the proper officer deems it to be fit, then he can revoke the suspension even during the pendency of the cancellation proceedings. One interesting thing is, only, sir, after the completion of cancellation proceedings your suspension will be revoked, sir. But during the pendency also, if the proper officer feels, okay, fine, let us revoke. Let us assume I got order from a customer, sir, I have to provide the supplies, but because my registration is being suspended, I cannot make any taxable supplies, I cannot file any returns, or I cannot be granted any refund. Sir, now I got one order for 100 lakhs and GST liability 18 lakhs. Because my registration is suspended, I cannot make supply. No, sir. I am going to proper officer and requesting, sir, please revoke my suspension. During the pendency of cancellation proceedings also, proper officer can revoke the suspension. So this is also important point. Okay, so that is what the thing. So if your registration is being suspended, then yes, you should not make any taxable supplies, you cannot file any GSTR 3B, you cannot apply for any refund, and only upon the completion of cancellation proceedings, suspension shall stand revoked. But during the pendency also, proper officer, if he deems fit, he can revoke the suspension. Okay, right, sir, from when it will be suspended, sir? If it is voluntary cancellation, that means you are only asking, sir, suspend my cancel my registration. So if it is voluntary cancellation, then whenever you submit the application, from that date, or from which date you asked for cancellation. Sir, I am submitting the application for cancellation on, let us assume, 21st December. Okay, but I am asking to cancel 21st December 2024. I am asking to cancel it from 1st January 2025. From New Year, I don't want this headache, sir, let me cancel my registration. Whichever is later, from that date registration shall be suspended. But sir, if your registration is being cancelled on suo motu basis, suo motu cancellation, in that case, registration shall be cancelled from the date which has to be determined by the proper officer. Are you understanding the point? So your registration shall be suspended from the date of application or date of asking the cancellation, whichever is later. If it is voluntary cancellation, if it is suo motu cancellation, proper officer has the right to determine from which date your registration shall be cancelled. Okay, so that is the concept. So suspension of registration, that is how it is. Next, there are some small key points, you can just go through that. And revocation of cancellation, another important point for you. The revocation of cancellation. What is this revocation of cancellation? Now please understand, when your registration is cancelled, you can go and ask the proper officer. You can go and ask the proper officer, sir, my registration has been cancelled, please cancel the cancellation order, sir. Like that you can go and ask for the revocation. You can go and ask for the revocation, but you can ask this only provided you have complied with rule 10b. What is rule 10b, Ra? What is rule 10b? Just now we have seen Allu Arjun, Aadhaar authentication. Okay, so only if you have done Aadhaar authentication, you can ask for revocation, if you remember. And this can be asked only in case of suo moto cancellation by proper officer. Revocation of cancellation only for suo moto cancellations, only for suo moto cancellations, not for voluntary cancellation. Yesterday you came and asked cancellation of registration, I cancelled the registration. Today you are coming and asking, sir, revoke the cancellation, sir. I am such a jobless fellow. So only suo moto cancellation, yes, you can ask for revocation. So you can ask for revocation within 90 days. Guys, this is again an amendment. So earlier it was 30 days, now it is 90 days. Within 90 days from the date of service of order of cancellation of your registration, you can apply for registration. You can apply for registration. Hope it is clear for you. Okay. Sir, within 90 days I am not able to apply, sir. Then what I should do? You can go to the additional commissioner or joint commissioner and ask for condoning the delay. He may condone the delay for a period not exceeding 180 days if you are showing sufficient cause. Okay. So now the point is, please understand. Here it is not 180 days as a whole. It is 90 days as per the law plus 180 days as per AC or JC, additional commissioner or joint commissioner. Okay, so total this much time you have. So 90 days, yes, given by the law, apply for the revocation. If not possible, then based on the reasons to be recorded in writing, the proper officer, that is additional commissioner or joint commissioner, can condone the delay. Even after expiry of 90 days, again within 180 days, you can go and apply for revocation. And once you apply for revocation, within 30 days of the application, they will communicate to you like what is the consequence. If the application is found to be satisfactory, then yes, revocation will be granted. Otherwise, they will give you show cause notice, and then you have to reply to the show cause notice within 7 working days. Okay. If you are not replying to the show cause notice, then your application is deemed to be rejected. So once if you give the reply, proper officer, what he will do, again within 30 days, he will process the application. If all the clarifications are sufficient or proper, found to be in order, then he will revoke the cancellation. Otherwise, he will reject your application. Okay. So that is what the point. So with this, we are done with registration, right? So this is the last chapter in the marathon, right? So hope you are liking this marathon. Please make sure you are sharing this to your friends, and if you like or if you feel something is interesting here, please make sure you are liking the video so that it will reach most of the students. And if you found it beneficial, please do mention your comments in the comment box. So thank you so much for watching this video, and wishing you all success for your upcoming exams. Please make sure, for any of your doubts you have in respect to CA Inter GST, you can always approach me in my Instagram, CA Vishnu Vardhan. So I will be happy to clarify your doubts. So thank you so much. See you all in another video, and hopefully at CA final, right? So thank you everybody. This is your Mr. GST CA Vishnu Vardhan signing off. Jai Hind.